But you know what? I've noticed in both. I've noticed in both girls and men's, women, or college basketball, like there are a lot of upsets.
Yeah.
Like rankings don't really mean anything this year because it just seems like teams were ill prepared. They didn't have the right draft class. Like it just seems weird. So, you know, they definitely seeing some weird upsets.
I was going to talk about that.
Well, I already jumped ahead.
No, because I seen something. I looked at something today about like the top 5 teams or something.
For men's or women's?
For men's. That's what you were talking about? Were you talking about men's?
Both men's and women's. There's a lot of upsets. Wait, waiting on Austin again?
Yeah, and Jay, who is going to come on, she's going to be a little late. She has like practice, so she's going to be a little late. But
our special guest.
Special guest.
Oh, so I get to meet her for real this time, not just messaging on the live you were on.
What was
asking all these mad hard questions?
Oh, on IG?
Yeah.
That's a mad question. You had, yeah, that was like and that wasn't that like towards the end of it too? Like
I think so.
Like these questions are just gonna continue to get harder and harder. You're not getting no easier. What's up, Akeem? Thank you for stopping by, Akeem. So I got your in the Instagram ones you showed, so we'll watch those videos.
Oh yeah.
And I got some stuff off Twitter I want to talk about, and then I got a college basketball, a men's college basketball thing, and a women's college basketball thing.
Yeah. And of course, Chris Paul.
Oh yeah, but I mean I wanted to use yeah. I'm gonna use what's his name video. I just want to show you, but I kind of posted
Devin's video.
Yeah, I already posted
Devin's video.
But I just want to just look at that part and then just look at that little like what he says or whatever. I don't even think we can watch that because they're corny with that with watching live. They kicked me off last time. I tried to do like the same thing, break down highlights, and they kicked my live stream off. They took my ass. I was like, bro. So I don't even think you can do that. But we'll just talk about it. We'll talk about what he said. All that stuff.
Well, who said?
Austin, are you in like a hallway?
Nah. It doesn't. I'm in front of the front door. I probably should move. I don't know where to go.
You're about to get hit by the door. But there's probably mad snow still, so you're gonna get hit.
I hate that fucking light. Whatever. Well,
why you make a move? It was fine. It was nothing wrong.
I was just messing with you.
Nah, you made me not like it.
It's crazy.
Well, you know, low key, I'm an asshole.
Yeah, you was an asshole on fucking Tuesday. That's talking about your sunny weather. This is better anyway. I could watch Sexland now.
All right. So we'll just start and then we'll wait for it. So what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. How was y'all like week? How was the week? Did you really moved?
It was regular.
Regular? You guys a great conversation.
You guys sore from shoveling?
Oh yeah.
That has to be one of the top 5 ways you can hurt yourself is shoveling because your back can go out bad.
Yeah.
Every time I pick up the snow, I feel my back like, all right, this could be it. This could be the last one.
Shoving out mad cars.
Yeah, and that's snow. When you pick up, because you be wanting to shovel and get through it quick, and when you pick up that big heavy one, you be like, bruh, and you hold it and should be like, yo, this was a little too heavy. Trying to get all that snow out of it.
I hate snow. It's trash.
All right. So my friend Jay, she's like I said, Austin. Jay's gonna come on a little late. She has practice. She's in Florida. She's from Florida. So even though that makes no difference, the time is the same, but I mean, it makes no difference. But she's gonna come. She had practice, so she's gonna come a little after 8:00. She'll make it in. So I'll leave some of the topics I wanted to talk with her about to the end. So we'll start with the one Park. Park, you had a what's the name? You had actually before we even get into basketball, guys. I just want to show you. Let's watch something real quick. We got to talk about it before we even get to basketball. Let's look at this. Let me screen share. So what's up, everybody? This is Bigger Than Basketball. Quick introduction. My boy B Stu. We got Austin J and Coach Park, like usual. My friend, special guest Jay. She's gonna be coming on in a little bit. So we're just here to chat it up, end the week strong. Just talk some basketball. But before we get into basketball, I want these guys to see something. I don't know if some of y'all saw it because it's on Twitter. It was on Twitter, but let's see. All right. So first of all, before I even say, let's just watch and just see what's happening.
I've been
Bruh. All right, that's the second time through. Yeah, we ain't watching that again.
What is going on?
All right. So, hold on. Hold on.
Kev's still watching it. He's still watching it.
I got caught up on it. All right. First and foremost, what kind of I always think the era that these kids are in, they never cease to amaze me with the stuff they do. So I guess this was to see whose butt is bigger, who has a big butt or something of these men. So I'm assuming I can't see who's kicking the weight, but there's a guy kicking the weight. I don't think it's a girl doing that. So this is just a bunch of guys together trying to see whose butt is bigger, I guess.
Yeah.
Bro, what is going on? I'm glad I'm not a kid during this time because this stuff like that, every time I see stuff like that, Twitter never seems to amaze me with stuff like that. But every time I see stuff like that, I'm like,
what age do you think that is? What age do you think?
That's definitely 15, 16.
That's high school. It has to be high school because those kids are big. Those kids look strong.
Yeah, high school, right?
Yeah.
So what are they born? They were born in 2000s, right? Or 2005. That's still millennials. That's you and that's Austin. That's you and Brandon. Y'all millennials.
I don't think those are millennials. That's a new.
That's what are they? What's the next one? Z? Is it Z?
Gen Z? I think
Gen
it's
Z or Gen iPhone or some shit.
Is it? But when I saw that, I was like, this is crazy. But all right, let's go to basketball. I just wanted to see and would you get your opinions on that craziness, but
some serious boredom, man. Anything for anything for some 5-second clout on the gram, or Twitter or whatever, Snapchat,
ridiculous.
TikTok.
Okay, I want to make sure I get the right one. Okay, so Park had a so let's watch this and hear what Shannon has to say. Park had a very strong opinion on this. I think this is the right one.
Yeah, what good is 800 credit if I can't get a damn loan? I said that because I got 800 credit. I like to think that I could go to some bank, some financial institution, and they give me a loan. What good is having Kawhi and Paul George if you can't get stopped? You keep telling me about Kawhi and how great they are defensively. Yeah, what good is that?
So, what do you want to start it with that, Park? So, you want to start your comment, what you feel about it?
Yeah. So I know this is going to be a super unpopular opinion, but I whatever. The NBA shapes it however they want to shape it, but I just don't think Kawhi is. I think he's an overrated defender.
Oh, 100%. Oh, overrated defender or just
Overrated defender. I mean, I think he's overrated right now as a whole, but I think overrated defender. Because I honestly think at some point, like, you have to agree, admit that Toronto shot was 100% luck, and if that doesn't go in, he doesn't have any legacy with that. Because what did he prove in San Antonio, right? You had 3 potential All-Star Hall of Famers on there. Kawhi rode their coattails. I mean, Tim Duncan was the guy. So we would talk about he had one time where he defended against LeBron. That's Pop, right? That's Pop's decision. Just basically saying guard him. That's all you have to do is guard him and then give him open shots. So I think it's very much a diluted stance on understanding, like, really, is he that great of a defender? He's got big hands. We like to do that. We like to talk about how he gets some blocks, he gets some steals, but, like, at the end of the day, I just don't think he's an overrated defender. He's
So are you saying
but whatever.
Are you saying he's the overrated player too, or just defender?
I don't. Player is probably a little harder. I think we give him a lot of credit on defense, which, like, spurs his offense. I think offensively he's gotten better. So, but I'll stand firm on he's an overrated defensive player. But I mean, I think it could translate to offensive player too. I don't know. Yeah, we talk about skills, right? When we talk about who's the most skilled player, is he really that skilled? You know, he can score, I get it, but I just think that scoring, his mid-range has developed. I think he's effective. I'm not going to say he's not a top player in the league. I just think he's somewhat overrated. We always say Giannis is overrated. He's two-time MVP, and he's clearly overrated. Yeah. So you know,
who then is the best defender in the league?
That's what I was going to ask. Like, what are we?
That's hard. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we have to. That's what we. You ask the hard questions. That's what.
Yeah.
Like, who's the best defender?
Yeah, you can't just say, if he's overrated, like, what are we basing?
Well, see, the thing is, when you talk about defensive players, right? We historically, it's always been bigs, right? Or mostly been bigs, because we look at that as, you know, shot blocking, shot altering, you know, getting defensive stops from around the rim. But I don't know, that stuff has changed, right? Guards.
But that's not true, because Kobe and Jordan were clearly.
Oh, no, I agree, and I think that's where you have guys that were elite defenders. I just think they could turn it on.
That's what I'm asking. So who's the best defender in the league right now?
I'm going AD.
I was going to say the same thing. I was thinking AD is an extremely versatile defender. His shot blocking. He has a knack for shot altering. He's not just a big. He can step outside and guard. Think what he did. Like, he'll step up and guard Harden. He'll step up and you know, on those pick and roll switches, it's not easy, right? Yeah. If you do a pick and roll switch with Embiid, you're getting by him. Yeah. You do a pick and roll switch with AD, I think you're going to struggle, because his length, and he actually can move. So he should have been defensive player of the year last year.
Yeah, I agree with that. And if you watch the series, there was plenty of times where he switched on Dame and he did a good job.
Yeah, that's a fact. It's hard. Like I said, like I said last time, it's hard to stop these players because they're so good.
Yep.
But like players like what's his name from Philly, the point guard that can't shoot.
Ben Simmons?
Yeah, Ben Simmons is a great defender. Like, they're good defenders. You know what I mean? Like, there's some what's the name? I think what's the name from the Celtics is good. Brown is a good defender.
Yeah.
Like, I think it just, like, when you look at defense, especially in the NBA, it's like, can you make them take a tough shot? I think that's all you could do. Is like, can you make them take a tough shot and not just have them just always just blowing by, you know what I mean? And it's hard because it's hard to gauge one-on-one now because there's less ISO and there's more pick and roll. So it's hard to guard somebody one-on-one with a pick too. That's like, that adds so much more to playing defense. So even the best defenders, if I'm a great defender, if I'm getting screened, now I'm gonna step behind you, and now you have more opportunity to score and do whatever. So yeah, like you said, I do believe it's tough to.
That's why I say AD, just because he forces that issue where you can't just be like, okay, we'll switch off, because he'll guard the big, he can guard small, right? He can do both. So that's why he brings, I think, a different dynamic to defense. But even other guys like guard, there's plenty of guards. Look, Jimmy Butler's a great defender, right? So, I mean, you got guys that just get down and dirty. They just want to, they're physical. They play tough defense. I just think Kawhi, we give him way too much credit for just, having big hands.
He gets cooked a lot. Like Kyrie cooked him. I wish we could watch highlights
him the other day.
Like Kyrie crossed the hell out of him, and I was like, damn. Even though Kyrie does that to everybody, I was like, wow.
But
Yeah. But even like doing it to just see Kawhi really get like lost on a crossover like that, it was like, all right, this league is tough. This is tough. It's tough playing one-on-one defense and stuff like that. But now it goes. But okay, so let's go to so our favorite. this is probably our favorite player, one of our favorite players right here. He calls himself. Let me make sure I get this. I gotta just make sure I get the right one. I don't even know which one it is. Hold on. All right. I'm just going to share the screen. All right. So he calls himself. Where am I at? Nope. We did that one. He calls himself Playoff P.
Oh, God.
What he calls himself. So let's see what let's hear what Shannon had to say and let's discuss with it.
I love it. Let's go.
This all happened with Dame missed that free throw. And you see Pat Bev, that's kind of Pat Bev, making his little antics. I thought it was Dame time, and all of a sudden you see PG in that mix. And you think, hold on, PG. We've never seen you do that. We never saw this at Indy. We never saw this at OKC. And now this is it. Now, I'm not saying Paul George shouldn't view himself in this way. But I think players in the league look at Paul George and he's viewing himself like he's LeBron, like he's King, like he's Steph, like he's Kawhi, like he's Giannis. Those guys are either won regular season MVP or finals MVP. They're like, hold on, PG. Bro, I understand you're a very talented player, but there's tiers, there's levels to this. These guys that I just mentioned, they're top shelf. You're not on that shelf. So stop thinking you should be on that shelf. So people took issue to that. If you look at it this year, Devin Booker, they set your soft, you know what. Now we understand that Steph Curry has an issue with it. We know what that's about. So we don't need to get into that. But, people look at the way Paul views himself and the way players around the league view Paul is totally different. Paul George is off to an unbelievable start in the 2020-2021 season. He's playing phenomenal. But none of that matters because we've seen Paul George play great in the regular season. He didn't call himself regular season Pete. He called himself playoff Pete. So when you give yourself a name like that, Skip, you better come big come playoff time. Now, he's won one playoff series since that finals 2014 against LeBron in the Heat. He's won one. Now, what, Skip, if I'm not mistaken, aren't we in 2020? What? 2020, what we are. And you won that one last year against the Dallas Mavericks. So Paul George, and that's the thing I love about sports, Skip, because you get to update that resume. Now, Paul George.
Yo, that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
6 years.
That's crazy. I did not know that. Wow.
And I'm tired of everybody beating up on Paul George too. Let the man have a break. He didn't perform well. He hasn't performed well in the playoffs, especially in OKC. Skip, that what he did to Russ after finishing third in the MVP, and then that game against Utah, and Russ asked him in the locker room, say, Paul, what you got for me? And he said, I got a strong spade hand. I got 5 on. Gave him 5 points. That can't happen. So I'm gonna give him a break and give this a book. So this book was written a long time ago. It's just coming out now. You know how it is. So you get that delayed reaction. He probably said this the bubble was in June. So he probably started writing this, probably finished it up in July, August, and here we are just getting it now. So in other words, he might have finished that up. He was working on that in the bubble. Right. So look, PG is off to a great start. The only way PG is going to stop all this commentary about his play is to bust butt come playoff time. And if he does that, he'll shut people's mouths up.
Yep.
I think what a lot of people took issue with.
That's a fact.
That's a lot. I know that's a lot to dissect. But so what are your thoughts on P? Like, what are your thoughts overall on Paul George? Like everything about Paul George.
He's playoff P. He's ass. That's what I think about playoff P.
I don't think of playoff P being clutch. Like I think playoff P's trash and like hitting the side of the backboard. Honestly, I didn't know he gave himself that nickname until just now. I thought.
That's why people are so on him is because he created his own like nickname.
I really didn't know he gave himself that nickname until just now. Like I thought Twitter came up with that and was just making fun of him. Really?
So the last time, which is now that I think about it, correct me if I'm wrong. The last time Paul George was great in the playoffs was when he was at Indiana and he did the dunk on the Heat, right? He did that crazy dunk. I don't remember him doing anything else in the playoffs since that time.
Nope.
Nah.
Nope. That was that team. That's why we said, but that was a great team. He had a good team. He was young. He was hungry. He felt like he had it. But
so how do you feel about a player like that? That he's your teammate, and during the regular season, he just looks great, all this, and then when come playoff time, you just be like, bruh. Like this is like do you have I can't I don't want to say don't respect, but it's just hard to rely and be like, all right, that's my guy. Like, you know what I mean? I don't care. Like I respect when people be like, don't care about his regular. I don't care if Paul George averaged 40 in the regular season. Bro, you can't average 40 and then go 10 points in the playoffs. Like that looks crazy to me. To me, that just looks crazy. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I lost respect for him when he got cooked by Joe Ingles in the playoffs in the one year.
I don't know about that. Joe Ingles cooks everybody.
Yeah, he does. But he at the beginning of the season, he was saying how him and Kawhi going to fight over who's going to guard the best player and all this stuff, and it's just like, come on, man. If you just didn't talk, no one would have a problem with him. But
no one would have a problem.
All the stuff he says, it's like, all right, bro.
Yeah.
So is he? What level is he? Because he's not top tier. He's not LeBron, KD. He's not that. But is he like Harden? Is he on that? Or then is he? I don't even think he's there. Is he McCollum? And he's McCollum then? And that?
I mean, yeah, I guess he's an all-star, like Brandon said, but like he had the potential to be on that level with Harden and LeBron, but like he just hasn't done shit. And yeah,
he'd be lucky if he makes third team, right? He's lucky if he makes third team.
Lucky if he makes third team?
I think so. You got a lot of talented players coming into this league. Step it up. I just think if you don't perform, like I don't know where he is in the All-Star voting or whatever, but that's all crap anyway. But there are players that are playing way better than him. I mean, so this season, great. You came out with a chip on your shoulder, and so you're scoring points or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like you said, Kev, it doesn't matter until you prove differently in the playoffs, right? Like I would be pissed. Like if I was Jordan and Pippen came out and was killing all season, right? He was just doing it. He was like 1 and 2, we're killing it. And then he comes into the playoffs and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give you 4 points. Oh yeah, I'm gonna give you 10 points. Jordan would be like, get the hell off my team. Like, sit your ass down. I don't understand. I remember that time where he had 5 points. Like, how do you have 5? He was 2 for like 19. You shouldn't even play.
I lost all respect for him when he hit the side of the backboard. I'm like, that's some kid shit. That's like you're scared when you hit the side of the backboard.
You don't even want to play.
Like, bro, that's crazy.
That was
bro.
a wide open shot, right? Too. Like,
yeah, it was wide, and low key the game was still there. Like,
it was a big three that he hit.
I was like, the side of the backboard, Paul George. I was like, bro. But then he says, like, I'm not to make a joke, but then he said he was going through like mental issues. I think he said in the bubble or something like that. But I mean,
that's fair.
But it's not the first time, right? Yeah. It's not the first time. Yeah. Like you could say that, I could get it. Like if it got to you, and I mean, clearly, if you were quarantined for like an extended period of time by yourself, like I get it, but this isn't the first time it's happened. Like, look, you got guys like Lou Williams who step up in the playoffs more than him. That's embarrassing.
Yeah,
Lou Williams is tough, but like, really? You're supposed to be playoff P. You're supposed to be a perennial all-star. You want to be put on that top shelf, and you can't show up in the playoffs. You can't lead your team behind be that Kawhi and him is like a crazy 1-2 punch.
And Kawhi didn't really even get any slander for that when he should have got a lot of it.
He didn't get
him not showing up too, yeah, and getting crushed by Denver.
He didn't get blamed.
Paul George took
off. Yeah, it made her forget about it. But he played bad, and especially those last, what's the name? The last game 7 or whatever.
Those last two, they were like both of them were like 5 of whatever, 15, 5 of 18. They were just terrible.
At the end of the day, I like Paul George's game. You know what I mean? Just like as appealing watching his game. Like his game is tough. Like he's smooth. He does like
he does everything.
he does everything. He everything that you would want in that size of player, like he does, low key. But it's just that
He should be like Durant, right? He should be a Durant,
he should be like Durant.
Pretty sure much.
and he couldn't be further from it.
It couldn't be further. But I would not want him taking my last shot. Bad. You hit the top of the backboard.
I think it comes down to like, so he's one of those talented players, but his mental strength isn't there because you got somebody like Dame who just embarrasses him, like gets in his head and he can't do anything, you know. And then he wants to cry wolf, like that was a bad shot.
Damn, Dame hit the shot on him too, right?
Yeah. Dame hit that shot on him, and then he was like, "That's a bad shot." That's not a bad shot.
Bad shot if it
Because
goes-
Dame could make that shot. So why are you calling it a bad? You're just mad you got shot on.
I mean, I understand what he's saying when he says that's a bad shot. Honestly, like
That is from so far.
Better shot for sure.
that's not a shot that I'm gonna like. I better go guard him out there.
Yeah. I wouldn't like if I'm playing D. I'm not like he's gonna pull this.
Like yeah,
But he's
can't
done
comment.
it. Like that's. I mean, Dame has shown that he can do that. So I'd be nervous. I would be playing. And again, he
That is
acts
a
like he's a
bad
big
shot.
great defender. Didn't he come second or third in defensive voting one year? Everyone was talking about him being a great defender too.
Low key, that was a bad shot. Now that I think about it, that's not a good shot. He shot that from mad far.
Yeah.
Like,
I like that shot.
like,
But
that's not a good shot. Because if he misses it, people are gonna be like, "Why the hell is Dame shooting from so far?"
exactly.
Yeah, that's a bad shot.
Well,
But Dame-
okay. So I always ask this question. It was tied. So if he misses, it doesn't mean anything. But if he makes it, it's exactly what happened. Would he have taken that shot if he was down 1 or
Yeah.
down 2?
Yeah, probably. No one hit. Just looking at him.
Yes.
You probably would take it, but I feel like that makes it a worse shot in people's eyes, perception-wise. But if he's confident in that shot, I don't think it's a bad shot.
Mhm.
He shoots them all the time, and even more so now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't be mad at it in that situation. I don't think it was a bad shot.
Also,
I don't know.
my bad. Also, it was like not in rhythm. Really, he was just kind of standing there dribbling. And I guess I'm going to shoot right now.
He did that side step. That was crazy. It was,
Way out there guarding him, but he just stopped like further back. So listen. I get why Paul George said it was a bad shot, but it went in.
But it went in. That's what I'm saying. That's a.
they went in, and at the end of the day, he's the one who will be immortalized as the guy who didn't guard him and got shot off.
He did guard him. Though.
I mean, I'm just saying. Like,
He's out there. He was like,
It
he was out
reminds me of Steph when he hit that 3 against OKC.
Oh,
Like
I
he
hate
just said crazy. Like who would think you're just
guarding
gonna
that?
pull like that? I'm like, bro, I wouldn't even think. Even though I know you could shoot, I'm still not in the mindset that you're gonna step over half court and just pull. I'm like, bro, that's crazy. You know what I mean?
yeah,
that's where it's getting to. That's where it's getting to. I actually said it today with one of the guys I was training. I said, your goal when you're on offense is to always have the defense off balance, right? So like you do the unexpected. You don't want to do what's expected. So nobody's expecting him to sidestep a 3 from 40 feet out. So I mean, do it. And then he hit it. I don't know. I respect it. I guess I respect it more than that. And then I really think it's a great shot. But if you practice it, take it,
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to first team all defense. Hold on. Damn. Come on, man.
I'm talking about it. So Kevin Durant wants me to unsee what I've seen over the last 8 years. So am I supposed to believe KD or my lying eyes? But Kevin Durant wants to take a few plays and say James Harden is an underrated defensive player. Can't stop this. You've seen James Harden in the last 8 years.
So my opinion might be a little off. You guys might not agree with me. I think James, because I think I forget who brought it up, Skip or somebody brought it up. But when James Harden was in OKC, he was playing the best player. He was playing Dion, the best player. He was on Kobe. He was like the defensive guy on that team. So I remember before, I think Houston turned him into like a.
Yeah, that's the D'Antoni offense.
Yeah, I think there it is.
That's all it is. He's more than capable of playing defense. He had one of the best
Wait,
defense.
D'Antoni wasn't his first coach, so you can't.
No, definitely not. But when you get your own
But she
team.
was there for most of the time. Yeah.
I can't even say he was there for most of the time. He was there for like 2 years. He had like Kevin McHale, and like
Yeah.
so I can't blame it on D'Antoni at
I'm
all.
just saying though, like when he got there and then he's the best player. You're not gonna have to play defense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Congratulations for playing defense in 2012. It's 2020 now.
Yeah.
Like D'Antoni was there
More
for
than
4
people
years.
are playing defense.
It's like the same thing. I would hold LeBron to the same standard. Yeah, he used to play defense, but he doesn't really anymore. So, congratulations for playing defense once upon a time.
I don't think he's a defensive liability. I don't think
He doesn't even attempt to play defense. He doesn't even try to act like he plays defense.
Yeah, like at least LeBron acts like he plays,
Right.
even though he doesn't, and you can tell. But like he'll just stand there.
But he locked up, not locked up, but he played good against Kawhi and them when they played the Clippers the other night. He was playing good defense. Like there was some times where, like in the post where he was bodying with them and stuff like that.
Well, he has like one of the best post defense ratings in the league.
Okay, so do you go with this? They say that because when he was at Houston, he has to have the ball all the time. He scores, pass, assists. So he's like, damn, I got to play defense with doing all this too.
I think he made a conscious choice to ignore defense.
Aren't you asking? That's asking a lot from a player, right? I'm the superstar. I got to score all the points. I got to do all the assists. I'm getting triple doubles here and there. Now you want me to stop the best player or stop the top players too?
Kobe would, right?
See, now you can't do that. Everybody's not Kobe.
No, because we can't be like speak so highly of Kobe and put him at the mark of basketball and what you need to be as a basketball player in the NBA, and then like move the goalpost for James Harden, who like all the same things and still play defense. If you're gonna be the best player in the NBA or want to be one of the best players in the NBA, and we hold that standard to Kobe Bryant, then Kobe did it. Why can't you?
I mean, he made a conscious decision not to play defense.
He did. Yeah,
I mean, that's the bottom line. But I think what Kev you're saying is that like he's not a liability in terms of like one-on-one situation. If he wants to play defense, he will not get cooked all the time. Like that's so I get that. But when you're talking about defensive sets and just coming down the floor, man,
yeah.
He's not playing every possession. And I don't know if any NBA player right now is playing every possession the same way a Kobe or a Jordan or some of those guys from those eras that were really like in it all the time. They just thought, I'm going to play all the time. I mean, I think some of the guys used to do it back like 10 years ago. But again, we're in this realm where longevity matters. So, and then offense is what gets me paid. So I'm going to do what, and obviously Harden is one of the most elite scorers you can find. Am I going to sacrifice by playing defense, or am I just going to keep my offense going and get bigger paydays? So say all that, and he's still still is a top 5 player, right? So I mean, so how important is defense then?
Apparently, if you want to be a championship.
I think it's more legacy and just old school. I think it's old heads just talking about it, right? I think we all just talk about defense. At the end of the day, we know it doesn't even matter at this point because it's too hard. Right. Offensive skills are just too hard, and they've changed the game with his step back. That like it's a pure advantage, right? That move, the Euros, the extra steps that they figured out about how to like win the timing of pickups and all that. The advantage is now offense. The offensive player has the advantage clearly against the defensive player.
So in my mind, when I think defense, my thought is, all right, fourth quarter, now we're in the stretch run. Now let's get some stops because this stop is going to change the game. Like that's what I think defense. I feel like it's hard to play defense from the first quarter. Like you can't. First of all, I think the best defensive team they're like holding a teams to 102 points. That's defense. How is that? Is that great defense still? Like you know what I mean? It's hard overall playing defense. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, now because you know that once the games get closer at the end, it's more ISO ball. They go ISO. They give it to their best player. So now Harden go against Kawhi. Now go 1-1. Now get him into a tough shot. Now if I see you do stuff like that, I'm like, yo, you're playing good. That's good D. That's all I want, especially for my superstars. From the role players, yes, you want them to play hard all the time. You know what I mean, and play whatever. But from the superstars, I'll take that type of defense like that. I might be different.
You got to remember, like, I could sit there and, I mean, obviously us, right? We love basketball. You'll sit there and watch a whole game. But what matters? The fourth quarter. Like,
Yeah.
nothing else matters. So all that, as long as you can keep it, we always talk about, let's keep it close, right? Even as you guys coach, you play, right? It was always like, just keep it within reach, within striking distance, because as long as we're there, we're there.
Mm-hmm.
So like all that stuff beforehand, does it matter? I mean, you just kind of go through the motions, you keep it close, you try to like, go on runs where you can, conserve energy, and know that you're going to really play in the fourth quarter. Because I'm facetious about this, right? I ask, how do you win basketball games? Right?
Are you asking us?
Yeah. How do you win basketball games?
Outscoring them?
Another team.
Score more points.
But then if Coach O was here, he was like, you have to get stopped.
I get it. I did, but at the end of the day, if you're putting up more points than the other team, it's the D'Antoni offense, right? It's you put up more points, you win. Because it's hard to knock somebody like Harden when he's capable of putting up 60 points.
But how are you putting up those points? Are you getting turnovers to get easy baskets? Are you getting turnovers to get transition threes?
Harden gets them in transition, he gets them in threes, and he gets them.
But you got to think about it. So now when you go in deep and you look, but when you look more in depth in the situation, he's getting open threes because they're getting stops. And off that, usually in the NBA, when you get open stuff, it's transition, and it's hard to guard transition. You get transition because you're not getting the ball out the bucket. So I think that's where Coach O would say, like, that's where defense comes with the offense. You're not, because it's hard to just consistently walk the ball up every time and score like that. It's usually they're scoring, not saying fast breaks, but secondary breaks, just stuff off where it's like, now I'm switched off on you because we're scrambling back to get back on defense.
Because somebody decided not to play defense and get back on defense in the transition. So it's bad defense somewhere along the lines. But no, I mean, I get it. Like I just make that argument. I play devil's advocate on that because it's like, you got to score more points. So, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. It's hard to say, how do you win games? You win. You don't look, everybody says defense win games. I get it. But offense is the one who's scoring. So if your offense sucks, it doesn't matter what your defense does. You have to put up points.
Yeah.
One of my biggest pet peeves, and I understand that why they do this, so I'm not saying like against it, but just one is when the NBA players, especially the superstars, do something and they don't get a foul call or something, and they just literally walk back. It's just a ridiculous thing. Like you can't show kids you coach NBA basketball because their habits are not good habits. What they do, it's the worst of the worst. They would literally get back and they would like jog back and not even like. I was watching Trae Young. Trae Young might have did it like 10 times in the game, like 10 times just. Chugging back, like whatever, like, and that gives up so many. That's where I go back to where it goes to like the transition threes and stuff like that. Like it's crazy to see, and it's crazy to see how good every team is at shooting threes. Like every team could shoot threes. It's like teams are literally down by 20, and in this blink of an eye, they're down by 8. I'm like, bruh, the threes are just ridiculous. How everybody on the court can shoot threes.
20.
And I'm laughing because you were talking about Cousins shooting mad threes.
He shot 9 threes though. That's still ridiculous to me. I don't think DeMarcus Cousins needs to shoot 9 threes. Like, yeah, fine. Like the game's changed and like
facts.
He should shoot 5 the most. Like there's no, I don't care.
How many did he hit?
He hit 5 of 9.
Oh, that's not bad.
So if you're shooting at a 56% clip, I mean,
yeah, it's fine. I guess.
That's not bad.
Shooting 9.
Shoot 20, you'll make 11.
Why are you even out there? Why is he out there? What is he doing at the 3-point line?
More. So
trying not to get injured.
Yeah, basically.
Well, that's yeah. So the reason is
not at the 3-point line.
They don't want anybody. I think they're against. I don't know if against is a good word, but they don't want people clogging the lane. I think that nowadays NBA doesn't want that Shaq person just standing in the middle, if that makes sense. They because the offense is so much pick and roll. So you got to think, if I do a pick and roll, if I'm rolling, I roll right to the big who's on my team, and there's no spacing between that. Even if the big is short, go ahead.
The big should be the pick and roll. Like DeMarcus Cousins should be the pick and roll. Like Steve Nash.
I mean, that's what you would want, but I mean, are you gonna do a pick and roll with him?
DeAndre Jordan, like the big should be the pick and roll. Who are you doing a pick and roll with? Fucking Chris Paul and Devin Booker?
I mean, with LeBron, he always has guards screening for him, but
yeah, that's because he's trying to get the switch on the small, so that's smart.
Yeah. But like I didn't know that pick and rolls were done with anybody. I mean, I guess they are. Obviously, they are because the game has changed. But like pick and rolls with a big man, is it not?
Usually is. I mean,
It's
yeah.
supposed to be, but
They're stretching. They're just trying to stretch the floor.
and or get a switch. Or so if because I was just watching what's the name that was doing the thing on the Heat, and every person that Tyler Hero was guarding, they were screening with that person to get Tyler Hero on them and go 1-on-1 against him. So I think the NBA offense is who's the weakest defender on the other team, pick and roll with them. If they don't switch, attack the whoever, and if they switch, back it out 1-on-1 with the weakest defender, and then you create. So I think that's why it's not always a big on big pick and roll. So the weakest player could be the point guard. You know what I mean? It could be whatever. It could be Steph Curry. So they're gonna pick and roll with Steph Curry's man every time. You remember when Kyrie and them they were all pick and roll with Steph Curry to get him on them, so they go 1-on-1 against him and play off of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, let's not call it a pick and roll anymore. Let's just switching to the weakest defender. Like
a pick and switch.
Yeah, because there's no rolling involved anymore. It's just let me get on this trash defender so I can go to the basket or take a step back three or whatever the case may be. So I guess that's all I'm saying.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Hold on. So we're gonna stay away from Chris Paul. So which one of these is the best ones?
I like the cleanest.
They all.
Brandon is the fakest. I like San Antonio is the best, to be honest with you. I mean, I like Memphis too, but I think I'll go with San Antonio.
Jerseys are tough.
All of them are tough. I like Brooklyn's is tough, but LA, man, that blue, that's tough. Because that takes back to that Minneapolis.
I like San Antonio. I like the middle. I like the middle of San Antonio.
Yeah, I like San Antonio is the best, but
I like the line.
That's a consensus answer. Like if you go on Twitter, everybody loves Brooklyn.
I just like the script of the Los Angeles. So it's so tough.
Oh, like it's like that. That's when they were somewhere else, right? They weren't in LA, right?
Minneapolis.
That was Minneapolis. Yeah, that old
Minneapolis, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what the jersey are.
Yeah.
But Brooklyn's is tough.
That's why they're called the Lakers. Lakers. Like, seriously, that's why they're called the Lakers. They were in Minneapolis first, and they're like, there's no lakes in LA.
All right, so I saw this. So there's 10 things that kill team culture: selfishness, entitlement, jealousy, laziness, only being half in, egos, going easy on teammates, excuses and blame, not training with the team, and fair, holding each other accountable. So out of these 10, what would be your top 3 that you can't have of your team if you were coaching? The top 3 that you would be like, no, these 3 are not going to be a part of my team as a coach. Which ones would you choose?
Just real quick, like all 10 of those, like one goes into the other. Like they're
that it doesn't.
Yeah, they're very similar.
It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like excuses and blame, like it's egos and jealousy, entitlement. Like egos is jealousy and entitlement, and selfishness.
If you're happy and you're probably lazy.
Yeah, all these are like the same thing. But I mean, for me,
well, still answer the question. That has nothing to do, man. That's no reason, bro. On,
what? I was gonna answer the question. What you talking about? Would you want me to answer the question? Or?
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it would be definitely selfishness. Selfishness is 100%. Laziness, and then egos, and I guess like that would catch everything.
For me, not training with the team. Why does that matter? What does that mean? Not training with the team. I don't even care about that.
Camaraderie.
Fair holding each other. I don't care about that either. Selfishness. All right, so selfishness. I mean, if you're good, you should be entitled. Don't you feel entitled if you're good? I mean, you should.
But like I should get the last shot. And
that doesn't bother me. Selfishness. Laziness, that's a big one. Selfishness, laziness, and even though we say don't make excuses, you're like people are gonna be like
never complain, never explain.
And so selfishness, laziness, and I guess only being half in. That too. You got to be all in. Those are the ones. But you're right. A lot of them are the same damn thing.
Yeah.
I literally wouldn't want none of that for the team or anything.
So I gotta ask because like
Hold on. Jay, can you hear us? KD for me. So this is my. Should I say good friend? I always say good friend, even if you know somebody for a day. It's still always a good friend. But this is my friend Jay. How we met is actually a funny story. But I sent her dad a message on LinkedIn, and her dad was like, "Yeah, my daughter is into basketball and does a lot of stuff. You should connect with her." And I don't know. Anytime you hear stuff like that, you never know it's gonna turn into anything. But we did actually eventually end up connecting, and we did our IG live series for a little bit. I think we did like 5 episodes. I want to say we did it like 5 or 6.
We did more than that actually.
More than that? Yeah, we did a lot.
We were like 8 or 9. Yeah, it was like 9 weeks.
Yeah, until she got Hollywood, and then she got too big for me, and was like, "You're a loser."
Oh my gosh.
She became the WNBA head coach and all this stuff, and was like, "My time is of the essence. You can only get me for certain times." So that's why she's on here late, because she has to go through her game plan with her assistant coaches and all that good stuff. But glad you could make it.
Glad I could be here. Thanks for inviting me. It's nice meeting you all.
So we just go ahead, Park. So Park had a question. Go ahead, Park.
Okay, so selfishness. You hear that a lot, right? You hear that like, "Oh, he's being selfish. He's being selfish." But it applies to so much. So like, what about that is negative? Like, because there's aspects of it, right? We always say like, "Oh, the ball hog or selfish. You're a selfish player," right? But is like LeBron a selfish player? Or is Westbrook a selfish player? Or is like that determination? I feel like that word is used so often when people aren't getting their way. So just blaming like, "Oh, he's being selfish." Why? Because it's jealousy, right? So Austin, you were already saying, because all this feeds into it on its own, right? They're all interconnected. But I just the selfishness, I just don't get it, because it's related to being a ball hog. So
what is selfish? That's what you're asking?
Yeah. Would you define it for that scenario? Like what about it wouldn't you want on your team? Because I'm going to tell you, if I have my best player, I want him to have the ball, or him or her. I want them to have the ball. I want them to be selfish, because I don't want them to pass the ball to Ronnie Turiaf at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want them to be that player. So I don't know. To me, it's like a slippery slope, kind of a double-edged sword.
Was Kobe selfish?
Hell yeah.
100%.
Yeah, maybe like not so much selfishness on the court rather than off the court.
I mean,
Shots at times.
What is it?
That's tough, right?
Yeah.
Here we ask the tough questions that bigger than basketball.
Like what is so? I mean, I don't know. It's hard to answer, because it's hard to answer it. Like, because you're like Kobe is selfish, but you need your best players to be selfish. You want
That's what I'm saying. So, like, can you say you don't want that on your team? I don't know. I don't want laziness on my team. That's my number one. I don't want laziness. Get that out of here. If you're not going to give 100% effort, get the hell off the team. It's that simple. Because that feeds into everybody else, right? That just creates a culture that's just hard to defeat. So
now that you put it, I actually would want selfishness. Now that I'm thinking about that, like, why would I not want somebody? I would, because that means you're my best player. Because you're gonna only allow your best players to be like that. First of all, so
I mean,
Right. So then there's a whole another 11 guys, or how many guys are on a roster like that have capabilities of being selfish. Just because your best player needs to be selfish doesn't mean the other 10 or 11 guys.
Oh, so you're saying it would be bad for them to be?
Yeah, and be selfish and mess up like whatever, like the team or whatever, for lack of a better word.
But I don't.
It's not just about the best player.
But okay, so my argument would be like, for the Lakers with Kobe and them, they know better than to be selfish on that team, because Kobe wouldn't take that. Does that make sense? If on LeBron, who's coming off the bench? I don't even know who's a garbage player on
Kuzma.
Kuzma shoots no matter what. Kuzma does not care.
Yeah,
That's not a good. That's not a good one. Like the Morris twin. He's not gonna come and shooting 30 shots or taking shots from. You know what I mean? I think like there's a hierarchy. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like KD, Kyrie, and Harden. They're gonna all take the most shots. It's just they're gonna have to be. I don't know. I know what you're saying.
Understanding, right? You're just saying that they play a role. See, I think like selfishness, right? You could be selfish on your own part. Like Dennis Rodman was selfish, right? He wanted every rebound. He didn't care about points. So was he selfish? I don't know. I think you have to be selfish.
No, obviously not.
Be a ball hog in that respect.
I think like different definitions. Like maybe James Harden before he got traded to Brooklyn. He was definitely selfish. That's the bad selfish.
Yeah.
Selfish with like John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, and like you want to be selfish scoring points, but like there's other aspects to being selfish.
I know what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah, he wanted his. He wanted his. He didn't care how he was going to get it.
Mad that John Wall and that Boogie were on the squad with him. Like it. So yeah, that's the selfishness. Which it did with me, which is why Houston got rid of him. So,
Houston's balling, so now.
Yeah, they are. I need 5 Steven Adams on my team. That's what I need.
I need 5 Kobe's.
Stop it, anyone.
5 Kobe's would be the worst thing ever.
How about 2 Kobe's and 3 Shaqs?
5 Kobe Bryants. That'd be absolutely terrible.
Well, yeah, you got 5 LeBrons. Nobody's gonna shoot the ball.
Yeah, 5 LeBron stuff too. Like,
Just gonna keep passing to each other.
So even though who was it? It was Austin. Brandon wasn't here. Good. So Brandon wasn't here, and Jay, I want to get your opinion. So even though this is an old story, Park did the great thing of just sending it to me, and we just got. I just want to get both of your opinions. Your opinions on it. I know you guys seen this already and heard it and all this nonsense, but
Oh God.
I just want to hear. I want to hear. I didn't even remember what he said. I just want to hear what Shannon said, and then we'll talk about it.
courtside.
Courtside care.
It was escalating. She wasn't going to calm down. And that happens sometimes. I do believe alcohol might have played a factor in this. And as LeBron said, she was going to keep it going, and it was no longer going to be about the basketball game. And just about every time LeBron come back down the court, the referees were going to have to stop the game and ask her, ma'am, can you sit down, ma'am? And so it was just best because it had started to escalate. Now, Skip, she mentioned she doesn't have a problem with LeBron. Her husband has a problem with LeBron. So, an issue with LeBron. So, he started it. LeBron didn't even know. LeBron has no idea who this guy is. He just knew somebody started talking, and, obviously with over 1,800 people in the building, Skip, you could hear everything. It's not like it's 20,000. And even if it was 20,000, Skip, people on the front row, you could hear them talking. So I believe the officials handled it correctly because she was highly agitated. She wasn't going to de-escalate the situation. She was only going to heighten the situation. So the referee because they gave her every opportunity. Just, ma'am, sit down. They gave her opportunity after opportunity. What she got? She just kept going, kept going. And you can see by her comments on IG after the game. Yeah, exactly. You're right. Oh, she got to get it in 15 minutes. She probably got a couple extra 1,000 IG followers. But she wasn't going to let it go. And so in that situation, I think the officials handled it correctly by just saying, look, man, just go ahead and lead. I don't know if they had the mask on the entire time, but she was pulling her mask down. She was just so to have a piece. And because what she did, Skip, is that she tried to up in what Goat James, the closer, did. Because you remember yesterday, who's going to close? Well, you got your answer yesterday. The final time, 12 points in the quarter. We closed. You hit a three, hit a layup, and hit both. He worried about going to the free throw line. If you don't mind me asking, can you answer this one question for me before I turn over to you? How was he in the fourth quarter with them free throws?
Yo, I love shit. I mean, shit them too because Skip never gives. He'll always make him an excuse for what LeBron does. He'll never say LeBron. Like he comes up with the stupidest reason, like, and it's so contradictory to what he thinks about Tom Brady. Like for Tom Brady, he can do no wrong. But then when it comes to LeBron and he does the same thing Brady did, he'll say something that he did in the first quarter. He didn't tie his shoes correctly or some nonsense. He just tells me funny and stuff. He's hilarious. But so Brandon, Jay, you can go first, Jay. So what are your thoughts? I know everybody
What
had a
happened? I didn't hear this story.
Oh, you didn't hear this?
I don't know. No, I don't know.
Like,
I've literally been working like I'm 15-hour days, so I have not had. I literally haven't been on social media, so I don't know what's going on.
All right,
I'm
so
sorry.
you need all right, so
No, rundown.
okay, so it was the Lakers were playing against the Hawks, and then first of all, I didn't know they were allowing people in games. I didn't even know they had fans in games yet. But I guess some teams are allowing a certain number of fans.
Yeah.
So LeBron, whatever. So he was getting heckled by her husband.
Okay.
And I guess they were going back and forth. And then she just steps in and starts chatting and saying, so then now them two are going back and forth. And then the security kicks them out. And then she goes on like her live or IG or something and says, I hate LeBron. I'll beat him up or so. She just goes on a rant talking crazy about LeBron. Crazy. Then after she does that, she does another live where the video is mad glittery and glistening. She's like side pose. Like it's just crazy. And then she's saying the same thing. She's like, LeBron James, I don't even like LeBron James. I don't care about LeBron James, but he's not going to go against my husband like that. Ain't nobody going to tell my husband to sit his ass down or something. I don't know what she's talking about. But then she got into that. So then LeBron goes in the post game is like, he just takes the high road, kind of says that he's happy fans are back. He needs that type of energy to get him amped up. He's like, but he didn't think that they should have got tossed out, but he does understand that it was about to go somewhere other than basketball. Like they were about to go too far. And then he ended off saying that, what did he end it off saying? The interview saying
We had too much
too much what's the name? Like too much to drink. Yeah. He thinks that alcohol probably played a role in like how he was acting, but so that's pretty much the decision. So everybody, so he calls her Courtside Karen now. So her name is Courtside Karen, and everybody just jumped on her. It was like she's in the wrong and she's just crazy and doing stuff. So I just always pose the question of, hey, how do you feel about like heckling and all that stuff and like going too far, and even her as a woman just stepping up like that and doing that?
Yeah, I think first of all, my initial thought is why she went on IG Live is because our culture is such cancel culture, and it's who side, my side, this side, all this. So she probably went on it immediately to be like, this is what happened. And then you kind of to back her, you know what I mean? Because obviously I think when it comes to NBA fans, a lot of, especially LeBron fans, they're going to be diehard. So they're going to want to back him. So she probably wanted to tell her story first. I think there was definitely alcohol involved, for sure. That'd be my guess. But I don't know. I think I've always liked kind of trash talk. Like, I think it's fun, just being a player myself. Like, it's just it's a part of it. You know what I mean? I think people can get sensitive. I think that there is a line that you don't want to cross. But, LeBron's used to it. I mean, he's one of the most loved and hated basketball players out there. So he's used to it. So I think what he meant by I think I would have been fine, but I see where you're going with it. I think as a female, it's hard because, we can say things and men will think that we're being way too dramatic the way we say it, but then a man will say it the exact same way. And it's just like, whatever, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Like, I guess I don't, off of the quick version that I got, I think that maybe the refs did a good job if they think it was going to go more because she had alcohol in her and it was like going to turn into something. But also, like LeBron said, he's like, he's saying I'm used to it. Like, I like that. It gets me going. I don't know if I'm giving a good enough answer. I literally didn't see it. So just go off and what you guys said. Those are my observations.
I agree wholeheartedly. I don't know about everybody. I agree. she's crazy. This is what he ended. I just listened to what he said. I can't remember what he said. So at the end of he's hilarious. LeBron is hilarious. He said that I wasn't close enough because she took her mask off and he was like, I wasn't close enough to her to get anything or get caught, whatever. But he was like, some of the refs might have been, so I hope that they're okay. But at the end of the day, safety first. And then he just cut. I'm like, bro, he's just joking about the whole situation. But the thing is, like you said, the thing with me is just that she is a attention seeker, and she got what she wanted though. Cause I heard her IG followers went from like 10,000 to like 30,000 or something.
Yeah, went crazy.
So I'm like, she got exactly what she wanted, and I heard she apologized too for something, or she did something, said something.
Did she? I didn't hear that.
I heard that. I didn't see it. I didn't hear or see what she said, but I heard that. But Brandon, what do you like? You like what she did? Are you impressed? Her actions?
She was just wanting some followers. All that was. That's really all it was.
So is privilege come alive in this? Is this privilege? So she like because there's really no repercussions for what she did. I know she got kicked out, but they're gonna go to the next game. It's not like they're kicked out of the games forever. You know what I mean?
You spend way too much money for them to get kicked out of the game.
They give them too much money. That's what I'm saying. So like, what is her real repercussions for speaking up like that? Being called courtside Karen, like that still gets her more
Being made
mad
fun of
attention.
on Twitter.
What happened?
Being made fun of on Twitter. That's
She was made fun of a lot.
that's about it.
She said she was 20 for Jay. She said she was 25 years old too. If she's 25 years old, we are all 14, 15, 16. Because she looks like she's 52. Especially with all that Botox.
A lot of practice and plastic surgery.
That's crazy. Okay, so for college basketball, so I want to start with the men's first. So with the men's, so I don't like Austin. Brandon knows more than me, so Brandon, you can start first with this. But all I saw was I saw this on one night, 5 ranked teams, 2 of them in the top 5 lost. Like they used the word bushwhacked by 5 unranked teams. So stuff like this used to never, ever, 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 ever happen in college. If you ever play unranked teams or anything like that, like the chances of you like winning games were so slim to none. So why is it now that this is like more relevant, like prevalent that they are losing teams like this? Because every time I see the top 10, top 20 ranking, the teams, it's like 10 new teams in the top 10. Always at like all time. So is this because one and done culture? Or is
I was going to say, well, for one, most of the lower seeded teams always have guys who stay for 3 to 4 years, and they build that chemistry up. And then you see teams like Kentucky this year and Duke and all those teams who have all freshmen who have no chemistry, haven't really had a summer to really get to play together, and you can see that there's chemistry really bad on the court. That's why teams are winning. But COVID also has a lot of part of it. But that's one of the main reasons.
So are you guys all for one and done culture?
It is what it is at this point.
I think high school, if you're good enough and you're in high school and you think you can go, you should go. That's all.
Yeah. I think we're going to get to that point too.
You know what I just saw? I just saw like they gave a shout out to Sebastian Telfair. Now that's the biggest woulda, coulda, shoulda. If he did not go straight to the NBA, I think he had a chance to have a good long career, but he went straight to the NBA. So I guess but like you said, it sucks because if you go straight to the NBA, you're gonna have the goods. You're gonna have the Kevin Garnett's, the Kobe's, and those types, the LeBrons, and then you're gonna have the Telfairs, the JR Code. JR did too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Jared had a good career. Though.
Yeah, I was gonna say what? And,
He has a good career actually. Who else went straight out of high school? That was bad. That messed up.
That was bad. Kwame Brown.
Did Kwame Brown go straight out of high school?
Yeah,
Oh, that's trash.
It's one of the biggest.
So I guess it goes both ways. So how do you feel like if they say if you go to college, you have to stay 2 years? So you could either go straight out of high school, but if you go to college, you have to stay a minimum 2 years. High school.
I think if it's gonna, I think it should just be 3. Like wasn't it 3 at one point? I think
it was never anything at any.
It's like NFL or something.
Like that's what the NFL. So right, NFL you can't go out till you're a junior. Right?
College basketball was never anything at any point until they made it one, which is stupid. They need to take the rule away and let players just go straight to the league, and then let the kids who go to college do whatever you want. Because at that point, you're gonna the one and done culture pretty much cease to exist, and like the kids who are going to college are probably gonna stay at least 2 years. Because if you're not going to stay 2 years, what's the point of having 1 year in college to go to the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, half the kids just go till the semester's over. I mean, till the season's over anyway, and then they just drop out.
Yeah. It's just the rule is pointless. It needs to be done away with at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean that's what a 2K character did. He went to college. You know, he stayed 4 years. So
My guy did too.
that was 2K20.
I'm not saying you have to stay 4 years. Like
4 years is trash. Nobody's staying 4 years ever. Yeah.
the rule being a year removed from high school is just stupid. Like if you go to the NBA and you're a year removed from high school, it's dumb. It shouldn't.
I think it's going to disappear. I think they're going to get rid of that rule.
Yeah, it's coming. Especially since now, like guys are going overseas or Australia or even the G League now.
Players this year to the G League, like
Canada or wherever the hell they're going, Thailand. Like it's a dumb rule in my opinion.
I think the to the real question you were asking, right, is that why is there so many upsets? I think definitely like there is no chemistry. I get that. You definitely did not have the tournament last year, so there was no way to get any type of experience for some of these younger players. So they were freshmen last year, you know, to get that experience in big time games. So, but there's no consistency in schedule, right? You have COVID canceling and postponing games, right? So that's not helping anybody. But then on top of that, I think basketball's at a pinnacle now. Like there's more people playing, there's more athletes, there's more people entering the college, you know, atmosphere, so that you have higher talent, right? You just have more players playing. And I think a lot of the big schools that got big names, it's not just happening, right? They're not just getting that. And you've got places like Kentucky, like you mentioned, or I don't know, it was Kansas or Kentucky, but like they can't just go for big athletic players anymore with no skill, right? You got to develop skills. So some of these players that have played at smaller schools, right, but they've really good programs and they're staying 2 or 3 years, they're developing their skills, they're doing everything over in their workouts, and now they're better than these freshmen who are coming in green, coming off of these AAU programs that are just complete and utter shit, where they're just dunking and they're doing nothing else, right? So like there is a disconnect from the high school circuit to the college circuit from senior to freshman. But then you've got sophomores, juniors that have been playing and are far removed from that and been in like a solid program. While you're not nationally ranked, like you're still a good program. You're still Division I. I mean, you can't take that for granted. So I think you're going to see a little more even playing field for probably the next year or so, and then it'll probably change, right? You'll go back to having these programs being like, oh, Duke, like we got to wake up. You know, we can't do what we did. This is just like unprecedented times. This should never happen. So you'll have upsets, but not like this.
I agree. It's almost like too when you see in like March Madness, when you get one of those teams that is like an underdog and they're winning. When you normally look at their run, you look at that they most of the time have almost all upperclassmen. They've all been there. They all get it. They've all matured within the game, so they understand it. While you get like, you know, a lot of times with your Dukes and your Kentuckys and that, you just get freak athletes. But like you are saying, now more than ever, the athleticism is not the key thing while people are recruiting. It's you need to have skill as well, because you can only be so athletic, but is your IQ there, you know, to make those certain plays when you really need it? So I agree with everything you're just saying.
So Brandon, since you watch a lot of college, has the play gotten worse? Does the play look worse, like year by year, like how they play, or does it?
Play? I wouldn't say the play looks worse.
I don't watch a lot as much as I used to. But I can watch it.
I think it's more of like a lot of. If you just watch ESPN, it's all about like top plays of just alley and stuff. It's not. You don't see like the great plays of like things moving the ball and that's just how the game is. That's what you want to see. If you watch those teams like Iowa, they all have like upperclassmen people play hard together and use the ball and they just have to. It all depends on your preference. But I don't think really.
Not for nothing, I really don't think there's like I really don't think there's any more upsets this year in college basketball than there's been ever in college basketball. Like there's been, I mean, conference play in college basketball is ridiculous. So there's unranked teams beating ranked teams all the time every week. So I think that I don't know why that was such a big deal the other night. It was a big deal because it's the first time all season it happened. Not the first time in a couple of years. It's like it definitely happens every year where 2 top 5 teams go down in the same week. So there's no more than there's ever been. The culture of college basketball is different. Yeah, it's like the Park Point and Jay and Brandon's like because of the one and done culture, but college basketball is the same. Yeah. I don't think college basketball is any different from a standpoint, if that makes sense.
We finally made it. What we've all been waiting for.
Only Kev's been waiting for this.
It's only taken an hour.
They about to tip off too.
So for some, can you read what that says right on top of the picture with the fire emojis after that? What it says right there. I'll highlight it for you.
Number 10 point guard.
I highlighted it for you.
Number 10.
Point. So
why
for
do
some
they have
reason,
a picture of Chris Paul instead of Rondo?
So like the stats. So this is his last 4 games. So 24, 5 rebounds, 8.5 assists, 48 points, 48% from the field. I mean, so for him, so he's the highest paid. What is it? Damn, he's top. Yo, this is the highest paid. So the highest paid 2021. LeBron, Steph, KD, Westbrook, Harden. Yeah. Klay Thompson is this high? Sheesh.
Yeah, they paid him.
They got paid. Yeah, like 2 years ago.
Oh, I didn't know he was that high. But so when I was doing the I was watching this breakdown of Chris Paul, and they were like, why is he still so good? Like it's because he does a good job of getting to a certain spot. So he practices shooting from the elbows and doing all that during warm-ups. So when he plays, he purposely does everything to get to those spots. So you notice that he shoots like 99% of his shots from either the left elbow, right elbow, or somewhere 2 steps, 3 steps around that area. So I think players like him last so long in the league because they're like smart like that, methodical. I would put him even on like a LeBron level, just of thinking the game. You know what I mean? I might be talking crazy because that's my favorite player, but I think that's like the type of player he is. And I just want to know for everybody why, because when he goes on teams, they win. Every team he comes on, they are successful and they win. Why does this not translate to like finals appearances and stuff like that? Like, why does he never make it there?
I feel like we talk about this every time, bro. because he's hurt. Like he always gets hurt. Yeah,
But do you think that's it?
Yeah, literally it. He's always hurt. He always gets hurt in the playoffs. It's some weird injuries. Like yeah, that's why it doesn't translate to finals. And David Stern wouldn't let him go play for the Lakers in 2006.
That's the one.
Or not 2006, whenever.
That is the one.
Yep.
So is he a Hall of Famer right now? His career ends right now. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Not first ballot, but yeah.
Not first ballot.
I don't think so.
What is that?
It's probably how it's Hall of Famer, Kev.
First ballot, but I think he has to be top 10 in assists, right? He has to be like.
Yeah, he's 100%. He might be top 5.
So winning does nothing for you, Park? Winning doesn't do anything? Being successful as on a team?
What's his overall, right? Like what's his overall winning percentage as a player?
I mean, I don't know what that is. That's crazy.
Oh no, I'm just saying. Like I put him in probably in a realm of like a Charles Barkley, right? Like a guy who was a great player, and he will have a Hall of Fame. He's going to have a Hall of Fame career, but at a point he just started chasing rings and then chasing money. I don't take away from the fact but
Go ahead, Parker.
I mean, just to be at this point in his career and making $40 million a year is like he he did the. I mean, he did the right thing, right, somewhere along the lines. But is it warranted, or would you be like, yeah, he should be paid $40 million this year? He's valued at that. That's true value. Or are there players that really deserve it more than him? You know what I mean? I think he's a winner. I think he's got that mentality. I think he's got that chip on his shoulder that Kobe has. I think he's got that chip on his shoulder that all the greats have, but it's just never translated because I don't think he's ever been paired with the right team. I don't think he's ever had the right support. So he's just unlucky. I think his shot was that year. Think about like I said, Charles Barkley, that year where he was supposed to win, he was on the Rockets and they lost. You know what I mean? He had Hakeem, he had Clyde Drexler, like they had a chance and they didn't win. It was like Karl Malone. When Karl Malone had his chance, he was on the Lakers. They had that one shot where they were supposed to win. He didn't win.
Wait, Park, I don't. Those are teams trying to buy championships.
Well, that's what I mean. I just think like he's at this point in his career where that's the only way it's going to happen for him for a chip. So you have to go off of pure accolades of what he's done so far. What has he done?
Yeah, but
so like,
what I'm saying to that is like if you were adding old to old. Chris Paul was like you're adding kind of old to young talent. Like,
I'm just saying you're adding old to young. But what is he doing? Like, I mean, the team is.
I mean, he kept
just over 500 right now.
Yeah.
Are you over 500?
The Suns are 11-9. Yeah.
They're 11-9. I'm saying they're just over 500. You think that's going to last?
Probably. The Suns were probably going to sneak in this year anyway. But
I don't know. I'm just saying like that's not transformative.
Here's my thing. He everywhere he goes, to Kevin's original point, everywhere Chris Paul goes, they win. And every year, no matter what, it's someone's always saying like Chris Paul is washed or Chris Paul can't do this or that anymore. Last year being the biggest year, and he kept the OKC relevant and had him at the 5th seed last year. So like, where I don't understand where this like bashing of Chris Paul comes from every year. When every year he
I don't think it's warranted. No, I don't. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't like him, but I don't think it's warranted. I don't think he gets enough credit for his talent and for what he can do, especially for his size. Right? He's a tremendous point guard. I mean, we all look at like where he was always. It was him and Darren Williams. Mm-hmm. It was like them back and forth. Who's better? Who's better? Chris Paul's clearly better. It wasn't even a question. Like, who really thought Darren Williams was better?
I mean, when Darren Williams. He was on the gas.
I guess, but I mean, realistically, everybody knew that Chris Paul was a better guard. He was better assists, better overall shot. I think he had more moves. So I get the whole don't bash him, but I just at a point like he has a Hall of Fame career, but I just don't think it's good. It's an easy slam dunk. He's definitely in. You know what I mean? Whereas because he hasn't, you add a chip to it, maybe.
So why don't you like Chris Paul? So I don't like Russell Westbrook because he's always gets in a fight with everybody on the team. What he does never produces wins that way. And even when he does, like his style of play is so wild. Like his shot selection, like in the game, he'll shoot he'll be your teammate and you hit 3 shots in a row, and then he'll just pull up from he'll do something crazy, just so weird and out of the blue. So Russell Westbrook to me is just a player I respect what he does, but I just don't like anything about. But the reason is because nothing he does ever really accumulated to anything positive for his team. It always looks like it was just about him. So why don't you like Chris Paul if his team is winning? Isn't this what you want? Wouldn't you want a Chris Paul on your team to get your team?
Yeah, I would. I would want him as a teammate. I don't want him as a player that I play against. I think he's horribly arrogant, and not saying it's not warranted, but he's like I said, he plays with that chip on his shoulder. Like so, he's arrogant. He acts like an asshole on the court all the time. Like you just don't. I don't want to play against him because he is like that. He's one of those guys that's just like like I always look at the one where he was laughing with Steve Kerr, right? Where he's like fake laughs to him, and then he like plays him out. I'm like, that's because Chris Paul's an asshole. Like he doesn't seem like a nice guy, especially on the court. But I get it. Like outside of that, I'm sure he's fine. But like when I see him on the court, I'm just like, I don't like him. But I told you I didn't really. There's certain players I just didn't like. Doesn't mean I don't respect them. Doesn't mean I don't respect what they do.
You know who does a lot of stuff that you'd be like, Steph Curry does some BS.
He does the same thing.
And he does a lot of stuff himself too. He does
I
it
was,
well.
I was a big Steph Curry fan when he wasn't that way. When he was fresh out of Davidson, he was just him with Mark Jackson, that team. I loved it because it was just young guns, like just go. And then he became extremely arrogant as well. Like just, so I mean, do I like him as much now? No, I don't. For that same reason. I don't know. I like a semblance of having humility, but
You know
I
who?
get it. You're at that level, right? You don't need that. You need to.
You know
be
who's
that guy.
arrogant too? LeBron is arrogant too. Now, LeBron does a little cocky stuff too. LeBron
Oh, yeah.
is cocky. So that's
They
what
all
I'm saying.
do.
Everybody is like
They
that.
all do.
Everybody
I
is
just
like
think Chris Paul does it to the extreme. Him and like Rondo does that same shit. Like they all do it. They all do it. But he just rubbed me wrong like that. I don't know. But I respect him. I think he has had a tremendous career, and he's figured out a way. Just like you said, Dwayne Wade, like all those guys, right? Even they're all friends, right? They all talk, and so they all figured out a way to make sure that they stayed in the league for as long as they could, doing the things at a high level. Because I'm sure at some point Chris Paul's like, I'm not doing this shit if I'm not playing well. Like I don't want to do that. I'm not going to diminish myself just to do that. And I think LeBron said the same thing. So if they still feel like they can give something to the game, they're going to keep playing. So like look at Carmelo. He's not washed. Like I said, he gets kind of same rap, right? He gets the same rap as Carmelo. Like he's washed, he's trash, he shouldn't play anymore. He's over, it's over. So Chris Paul, like, I don't know, maybe they were just mad he didn't beat Golden State that year. I don't know. But I think he's just never gotten the players that he should have with that team. Like he took a New Orleans team, like a Charlotte, whatever you want to call them back then. They were terrible. David West, you know what I mean? Like that team. And it was a playoff team for no reason. And then that was supposed to be him on the Lakers. So, but now it's just chasing. Every time he gets moved, like why go to Phoenix? That sucks. I just think it's like they should have just kept him somewhere, but it's not his choice.
I don't know. I look at it as if I'm in a league. So you guys tell me if I'm wrong. This is just me personally. If I was ever in the NBA and I've been playing my whole career and I'm considered one of the top players in my position, and for some odd reason I'm on the teams that just not successful, like I would be like on the low, I tell my agent, yo, try to get me on this team with LeBron or something. I'd be like, bruh, I need to win. I would just be like, I don't get mad at what KD does. Like that stuff is smart. Why would you not want to play with? Do you see how Brooklyn is playing? Like, imagine you playing with two superstars. Like, it makes stuff so much easier to do, and you still get to showcase your talent. So it's not like you're taking a step back. Like, even though Harden isn't scoring as much, he's leading the league in assists. So everybody is still shining. So I always look at it like that. So I don't get mad. I think there's a difference between chasing titles and just understanding that you can't do it alone in today's league. Like, you need help.
Yeah, I just think it sucks for him because he went to like shit teams. Like these teams weren't good. They were.
The Clippers were good. Y'all don't think the Clippers were good? That team was
well,
good.
no, I mean that's different. That's why I thought he was just going to retire there. Honestly, I thought he was never going to leave. But
I don't like Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin is trash to me. Like skill, he's just trash. But I mean, other than that, I thought they had a decent. Like the JJ Redick, they had a squad.
They had a chance. No, they had a chance. They had a chance. I just that's why it's like it almost sucks. Let him be on the Clippers. Let him be the underdog of LA, right? But then he went to Houston, and it's not his fault. But he went to Houston with OKC. Now he's in Phoenix. It's like just bouncing around. It's not his fault. That's not his choice. But like, damn, if you really had influence, like you really wanted to be like Harden, go find a team. Like, go to the Lakers. Go somewhere. Like. But nobody wanted that contract. That's the problem. Nobody wanted to pay $40 million for him because he's not valued there. It's not. He doesn't deserve it at this point in his career because it's left over from before.
Is he a top 5 point guard still in the league?
I mean, I think he is.
Yeah, can you name 5 point guards better than him right now?
I can't really because I just still think the thing with me is like he's a true point guard, and people don't know what true point guards are anymore.
They forgot about that. Yeah.
So I'll just never not say Chris Paul is the best point guard in the league. He's the only point guard in the league, in my opinion. The only actual point guard.
Rondo,
yeah.
And Rondo. I've never taken anything away from Rondo, and Mike Conley Jr. as well. Yeah. But other than that, so no, I can't name 5 better point guard, better true point guard than Chris Paul. Absolutely not.
All right, that's all I need to hear. He's the greatest. No, because everybody's excuse, like Brandon's excuse is he flops.
Brandon,
Clark said that he has the attitude.
anybody.
He's annoying and he has a little man syndrome, but he's still a great
There you
player.
go. That's it. I mean, yeah, he does have that.
But everybody in the league flops. Everybody flops. They all do this
I
thing.
know that though. I don't. That's
Like
not-
Harden literally, like Harden every time he drives to the basket, he throws something. He either throws his head back or he does something like it might look not as outrageous as I know what you're saying, as like sometimes Chris Paul does outrageous stuff. Like he'll do like rolls and like
Yeah, he'll, like-
the first thing that comes to mind is the DeAndre one where DeAndre's like not shooting the ball and he's like jumping on DeAndre's back to shoot the ball, and that's like hilarious. But I mean, other than that, you're telling me, especially the refs will give you, as a superstar, they're going to give you every call or 90% of the call. So you're telling me if you get bumped, you're not going to flail a little bit? You're not flailing? I'll do that all the time in the league.
roll around the ground and
He said rolling on the ground. He said rolling on the
all you need is a neck grab. Throw your head back in.
I sent Brandon a video of LeBron. The guy, I don't forget who they're playing. LeBron, somebody touched LeBron like this. LeBron went like this and died, like Paul went on the floor, it's like this. I'm like, that's the same thing. Ain't that the same thing that he does? Like, what's the difference? And then Brandon was like, he actually got punched in the face. I'm like, yeah, he got hit in the face. He did not get punched like that.
He did get hit in his eye. I know which play you're talking about. He
You
got
know what
hit.
you're talking about, right?
Yeah, he did get hit in his eye, but LeBron flies bad too.
Oh yeah, he does 100%. It's actually.
And I don't know why Brandon, like I keep saying, I don't know why Brandon's the king of that. I've seen Brandon get down the dude like 5 feet away from him. Like, so I don't know why he's talking.
Oh, he flopped like Blake Griffin the other night,
Yeah.
and
I'm sure-
LeBron didn't even come close to touching him. Yeah,
Jay, were you a flopper? Were you that type of player? I was a flopper.
No, I never was. I was a coach's daughter growing up, and my dad would be pissed if his team like flopped. So there was no way I did it. Like even like players would tell me to flop. I'm like, I'm not doing it. Plus, I also my personal thing is I never wanted to flop because I felt like that was like me being weak. So if you're pushing me down, you're pushing me down. You know what I mean? Like you're physically, I don't want to seem weak because I'm 5'3". You know what I mean? Like I'm little. I'm the smallest person on the court. So I had to feel like I was bigger than what I really was. So I didn't want to flop because I got pushed easily anyway.
Brandon hates me. Because when me and Brandon used to go out, Brandon would, I remember this, I'll never forget this. There was one time we were playing at Branchburg Sports Complex, so close to where we live. And it was literally like 1 minute into the game, no lie. And this was a big game. This was like the playoff game, like the Final Four, something like that. I get the ball going down full speed. Brandon barely touches me. I'm flying to the floor. Brandon's like, bro, you're going to start this flopping already.
I'd be pissed. I hate flopping. I really do. Like, I hate it. I think it's just there's no need for it. I think you need to play strong. You need to play big. If you get pushed, you get pushed. If not, like, why? Like, I am the biggest LeBron fan ever. But when he flops, I'm like, why? Like, you don't need to. Like, he's so strong and, like, whatever. And I'm just like, I just don't like it. I think you look stupid. Like, I do. I'm like, what's the point of it? You know what I mean? Like, you look silly. You're the next Twitter meme. Like, it's just kind of like, I don't know. But that's my perspective because I just think, you know, basketball is a physical game. So it's like you need – and, like, that's what we get taught as players. You know what I mean? It's a physical game. Each level you go higher, it gets more physical. So as a point guard, I'm taught I need to dribble the ball better because I'm not going to get as many calls. Like, if I get the ball taken from me, I'm probably not going to, even if they like hit my hand, I'm probably not going to get the call. So I need to be stronger. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I go from that mentality of being strong and playing the game and being physical versus flopping. Because then if you don't get the call, you look like an idiot. That's my perspective on it.
Did Kobe flop?
I've never seen
I think all of them did. But
Yeah, Kobe
Kobe.
probably good, man.
Do you think Kobe flopped? I don't know. I can't even remember call.
Can't think of a time.
Me neither. I can never think of a time where Kobe flopped. Did you think Jordan flopped?
I feel like they didn't do it back then.
Yeah,
Like,
but
they were way more
yeah,
physical. It was way
That's
more.
what I mean.
That was
It was
Yeah.
that same mentality to
AI
like,
flopped. AI flopped a lot.
It's the
Did he?
Europeans that come over.
AI
That's
would,
what it
AI
is.
would flop a lot. AI
I don't
would
think
flop.
AI flop.
I've never seen AI. I don't.
No, yeah, I don't. Back then, I feel like they didn't do it.
That time period, nobody. I don't think people flopped.
Yeah,
Like
you didn't flop
you were
like
trying to bang on somebody's head. You were trying to embarrass them. So like, I don't think people were flopping.
So if I'm playing a strong guy, so you know those strong guys that try to
the
be
muscle guy?
extra physical. And then the ref is playing. He's playing defense on me, whatever. And then he thinks he's stopping me, but all he's doing is fouling. I'm going to flop because I'm gonna be like, bro, that's not. I'm not saying I'm gonna flop like all on the floor, but I'm gonna draw a foul and be like, bro, that's a foul. Yeah, you can't do that because they think they're playing good D and they're playing well. That's my way of counteracting people thinking that they're doing something right, even though they might not call it every time. But I'm smart enough to know that that's not good defense. But you think it is. But it
I hate
sounds,
that. I hate that defense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like again, we're
No,
playing rec versus.
I
Like,
say that to say this, but I wanted to ask this. So, what is your number one worst type of player to play against? So, I'll give you like different categories. It's the strong guy like that. That's just super strong. I hate that guy. That is just super strong and mad physical. It's the one that the one that's just all in your face like this. It's the cocky one that thinks he can't do no wrong on the court. It's the, like, what is your type of player that you hated?
So a football player.
Yeah, I'm a football player.
And they can play basketball. That's the
I
worst.
cannot, it's football player for me, 100%. And that's because we grew up playing at Mercer. Man.
Yeah, I know.
It's the football player. They swear they know how to play basketball, and they're the worst.
I'm
yo.
nice.
Their
I'm nice.
defense is so
First of all,
bad.
put your shirt back on. Put your shirt back on
It's,
and stop pushing me.
yeah.
Every time.
Oh, it's so aggravating. Yo. I hate playing with football players.
What about the trash talkers? The ones that talk trash?
Well, I
I
don't.
don't care. Especially
That doesn't mind?
Because now I'm just gonna cook you, and then that.
whatever. There needs to be trash talk. Like it's not
Yeah.
fun otherwise.
I don't like the little guys that are mad fundamental. They bother me. They like box you out, right? They do like
Oh,
all
the
the
ones like that.
Yeah,
That's the one. Yeah, the ones that always box out like every possession and do it. And the ones that on offense are just moving all the time. I know you're too much.
Yep.
It's not that serious. Like, you're really doing the most right now.
Practice.
You're excellent basketball. Go ahead.
You know who makes me mad? This is more though I've seen on the girl side of the game than anything. It's the screamer. It's the girl that like going up for a layup and the defense just screams, or like you're taking
That's
the ball,
Brandon. That's
like,
Brandon.
or you take the ball out and they're just like they're just going crazy. Like I'm not kidding. There was one time where this girl, I played against her. A girl did that and was screaming ball at her face. She literally, like, I mean, I'm surprised she didn't get a take. She literally looked at the girl and threw the ball straight at her face. Like there was no like, you knew she was aiming at her face. There was no oops, it slipped. No, and I'm like, the girl like almost broke her nose but I'm like, good, shut her up. I can't stand that. Like the annoying people, like just like. I'm not gonna miss a layup because you scream. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I'm not
You're gonna miss a layup because you're trash. Like that's how it works.
Why is that a thing in the girls' game? Like I never.
I think
Whoa.
I've never done it. I would never do it. I would be so. I don't know why they feel the need. Maybe it's because they know they're not. I don't know. Like
I don't know either.
I hate that.
They do the shot too a lot.
You know what? I wonder because males versus females psychologically when it comes to sports, we want to please. So if you think about it, in practice, you're constantly being told you need to like say, like, you know, if you're doing a drill, it's shot. I can't hear you. Like, I can't this, you're gap, this type of thing. So I think it's like, I mean, again, I think though I play more like a boy. Like I don't have that, you know, whatever. So like for me, that never happened. But like if it's something where I feel like there's this girl that's not very fundamental. She doesn't have an IQ, but she just wants to like, I'm doing something right, coach. You know what I mean? I think it stems from that. Again, that thought literally just randomly came to my head. I've never thought of that before, but I'm coaching middle school girls now. You know what I mean? You see that. And then I know, Kev, you have a lot of experience with like, you know, girls like that with younger. And it's just like, I think they just get in their head in practice. You know what I mean? Shot, you know what I mean? And then when they do it in a game, they feel like it does something, but I don't know.
But I know coaches that do that. They teach it. Like where
Yeah.
they teach that.
Shot,
So, like,
shot.
my varsity coach teaches that stuff. Like
To say shot.
to say shot, to say ball. Like I don't teach that at all. I refuse. Like my girls, I'm not doing that. I don't do it for the high school. I don't do it for the middle school. I don't do it for any of that. It just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I understand when you want them to be vocal, when you want them to understand for a drill purposes. But like, man, I'll tell you, if I go to an AAU tournament and I see girls yelling ball every single time the ball transitions or moves or something, what is the point? I mean, I'm exhausted just listening to you.
I'm not gonna lie. One of the girls on my team, I was coaching, and one of the possessions, she went up against a defender, and she's a good defender, and she went up against the offensive player. I mean, and she was like, ball. I just took it aside. I was like, you don't have to do that. I was like, just don't. Like, I try to do it the best. I didn't say don't do it. You know, I didn't want to come off like that, but I was just like, you just play all I do. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Because that was when she did it. I was embarrassed. I was like, damn, I was like, why
You need to teach like constructive talking. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not shot. It's like I got ball or I got gap. I got your help. Hey,
That's
watch
it.
mine. So it's like I feel like it's a waste when you're saying shot or gap. It's like I get it. I know you're in gap. Like, thank you, but tell me if I'm gonna get hammered by a screen. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So it's like teaching them to be
It's just
constructive.
noise.
Yeah, they're just making noise.
Yeah, it's noise. I need to hear stuff. Like at a tournament, I'm yelling, trying to tell like my team, like, get back on defense, and you hear somebody just screaming, blah 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 blah. Like I'm like, what the hell up? Like, no, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense.
I think if we were able to like get the stats, I don't think anybody has ever missed a shot because they said shot. I don't think that's ever
Like I've never been like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever been the reason why anybody, because they usually contest it first and then the ball's like out of their head, then they say shot. So it makes no sense, like you said, for why you say it. But
To let your teammates know the shot went up.
Yeah,
I mean, sometimes, maybe
No,
you said it
seriously.
once.
we would
Maybe.
get in trouble. Like if we like it'd be for this is what they would say. It's for the players that are their backs are turned
Yep.
or they're like the post or somewhere else. So when you say shot, you're letting your other teammates know there's a shot. So it would be taught that way. But also, I think if you're a player on the court, you need to see what's going on. Like
Yeah,
if
you're
you're not
back to
seeing what's
the
going on,
Like,
you're screwed. Like I'm like that's just not a good situation to be in. You know?
So if they use if they use a different language, so if they said shots up or like contest, or they said something other than shot, would that be better? Or like would that be
You
better?
just say it one time though.
Yeah,
Like, you don't have to say it 50 times.
Like
Yeah.
scream it a million times.
Screen. You know, like, well, come on.
Yeah, I get it. I hit the screen.
It's supposed to be I got ball, not ball.
Yeah. Like screen left, screen right. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just basic. Like when I say when we talk about communication, right? Coaches will always say communicate. It doesn't mean yell the same thing 50 times in a row, all at the same time. And first of all, why are you yelling that when you're all in zone facing the player? All in zone. Like it's not like you're in man where you are doing that, where you're running around. You're all in a 2-3 zone, just standing there like ball.
Dealing with kids, you have to really understand and break things down because they'll take something and run with it. But when you tell them to talk, they'll talk at the wrong times and say the wrong stuff, but they just feel it's right because you said talk. You really have to explain to them the words and when to use the words. I feel like I don't know if any of y'all would agree with this. I think that one of maybe the hardest thing to get kids to do is talk on the basketball.
Oh my god.
Like they don't talk, and I don't know if it's because I think it is because they're not out their comfort zone like that. Like you'll notice, this is what I've known as being a coach now. I notice the ones that are, if you want to call them alpha females, like they're the ones that they're gonna grow up and be the leaders of pack because they're just chatterboxes. They're just talk, and then everybody comes on the team. All the other kids are attracted to them because they're just the ones that are. You could tell the ones. So I have a kid on my team who sometimes is negative with her players, but I want her to continue to talk because she's like one of the only ones that says anything. I'll be like, I'll take some of that negative because I just need something with talking on the.
Is she the best player on your team?
She's one of them. So so that's leeway. Bad.
I mean, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing is like usually the people who are the best tend to be the loudest because they've earned that right. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Right.
I get that. But yeah, they don't communicate. You got girls that are like whispering. You know, like
So, you would think
That's a big
as
thing
soon
we're
as they walk in the gym, They're with their teammates, putting on their sneakers. Yo, girl, as soon as they walk across the line, it's mute. I'm like, bro, you girls were just talking 2 seconds ago. And as soon as the ball starts dribbling, nobody knows anything. It's like, it's the weirdest thing. It's so
You
weird.
ask them. So in this situation, what would you do? And they're like,
Yo,
Right.
man,
Why?
they really. So I do my best. So what I do, I'm bad. They probably hate me. I put them in tough situations. So I'll say stuff, and I'll just whatever, and then I'll put one of them on the spot for an answer, and then I'll make it quiet until they say something. Even if they don't say the right answer, they gotta. I make them talk, like, cause some of them, like, and I get on the ones that don't talk. The ones that don't talk, I'll be sarcastic with them and say something about their shot or just something funny, just to get them. I want to see them if they have and they still, some of them will just be like, I'll be like, I just made a funny ass joke, and they just be like, I'll be like, yo, y'all girls are crazy. That's
you're not funny.
yeah, maybe that's they don't find me funny. They find nothing I do funny, but.
I'm glad Paul got close to the screen for that. He wasn't funny.
I had to get into the mic so you could hear me.
They literally, the kids are funny because you don't know what they're actually taking in and what they're not taking in because they literally have the same face towards everything. So I could say a joke, I could say to make a play, I can give them praise, and they have the same reaction to all three of those. So I'm like, I don't know which one you've listened to or which one you're not listening to, but I just gotta just guess with them. These kids are the worst. I don't even know. So I'm back at it with them on Sunday, but a couple of them got corona, so they had to. Get out there. Wow, yeah. One got it, and then another got it, and I was like, yeah, it's over for me. I ain't not going over there.
Man, we're finally starting to play a little bit of live stuff out here. Like in practices, we can go like 2-on-2, 3-on-3. But man, for a while we were doing nothing. Couldn't barely pass. For a while we couldn't pass the ball. We weren't even allowed to pass the ball. So
See, I'm in Florida. We
Yeah.
don't.
So what you guys are
there's no
doing?
rules in Florida, so it's all good.
I mean, we're full on practice. Girls without masks. I mean, coaches, we have masks on, but it's
So they're
optional.
like the NBA. WNBA
You know,
style.
Florida, I don't feel the like stress the rest of the world feels. Like it's not like, yeah, we have to wear masks. Yeah.
You
You
go
know what I
out.
mean? Like it's like that. Like it's just more, like it's literally like schools. There's a lot of schools now that like kids like because I take photos. Like I'm a photographer, so I go into schools and I take photos and stuff. Kids almost like there's partly kids. The only kids that are online are the ones that like want to sleep in all day. Like you know what I mean? Like and a few parents that want their kids actually home. But yeah, schools are full force like in doing this. I mean, yeah, you have to wear your mask. Yeah, you have to do this. But like, you know, I took pictures for clubs yesterday and they no masks altogether. Like we did, you know, those big panos of like the whole 500 grade like senior class. Yeah, one with the mask, one without. So like it's very like Florida is very
Florida is crazy. Florida.
no,
Florida's
it's
crazy.
people are stupid.
Florida's crazy.
Every time you hear a crazy story, it's always
Always
Florida.
in Florida.
Always in Florida. I imagine it. It's just
Florida
always-
man.
Yeah, so like for you saying like you just now were able to pass the ball, that's the weirdest thing for me. Like
Cali-
that
yeah, they're crazy over there.
we don't. There was not no, that's not a thing here.
The high schools
How does
aren't
that
really
make-
even practicing. So
How does
that's
that
the thing.
make sense? Who is gonna stand there and be like, "You're passing the ball. You guys aren't allowed to practice." Like, who's dictating like passing the ball? Like, what? Even if you make that a rule, nobody is gonna follow through on that rule. Like, what the hell kind of? So if I can catch it by passing the ball, but I'm already here practicing with the kids next to them. So so what is passing the ball? Basketball is like that's like going to say you can play football, but you can't pass it to each other. You can only like. hand it.
That was the rule out here. We couldn't pass the ball in football, and you had to wear gloves.
Do you know what makes less sense in that is like actually wearing a mask during a game.
Oh my god, the NBA! I don't understand that.
No, your bodily fluid is touching anyway. What the hell is the point of wearing a mask during the game?
You're talking about the people on the bench too, even the ones
Yeah.
that you're talking about the people.
No,
on
I
the
mean I'm talking about like the high schools, like in Wisconsin and like other states where they actually.
Oh, when they're playing in the game,
that makes
Yeah, they're
no
playing. That's what they're doing here. Wearing
Yeah,
masks.
Oh, they're playing with masks
playing
on.
with mask on, but like you're
I
sweating.
think Indiana does it too.
Yeah, like that makes no sense to me. Like
That's what's going to happen. So if we have a season, which we're probably not going to have a season, but if we have a season for the high school, they're going to have to wear masks, and there will be no fans. and it will be probably only varsity level.
Oh, that's
See,
so.
What doesn't make sense to me is like I get the NBA, it's like it's on TV, so they're making a statement, but it's like you said, they're all their benches are spread out. They're this, but they're like you said, they don't have masks on, they're breathing on each other, they're touching each other's sweat, and then they go and they spread out and then they do this, but then after the game they're with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like there's no balance. Or like even like just for instance, like what I was talking about with the photos, like they would set everybody up socially distanced, but then they say we're gonna go together. So I'm like, you might as well just stay together. You know what I mean? Like
At that point, it doesn't even matter. You're inside.
right?
you're all
I'm like,
together.
there's
It's crazy.
nothing there that matters. So I'm like, I get what you're trying to do, but if you're trying to do it, you have to do it 100%. You
Yeah.
can't
Oh,
just do
agreed.
it like that. So I'm like, it's very confusing. I'm like, it's like doesn't make sense at all.
I was just talking to a friend in Australia, and she was saying that like they had one case pop up at a hotel that was like quarantined, and they shut the whole like wherever she was living down for 5 days. Just shut it down. Like everybody locked down again. Here, I sent her the stats. I'm waiting for her to say something back, but I was like, I sent the stats, and I'm like, we have like hundreds of cases every day just in this town. You know what I mean? Like, so we have hundreds of thousands of cases like every day. It's insane. It's insane. So it's just the way our world has become. Like, this is normalized, our new normal. We're just like, yeah, well, it's happening. So I don't care what your stance is on it. If you choose to be, whatever, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do and feel safe. Like, if you don't do that, then that's on you. But I do find some of this stuff ridiculous because it's inconsistent. You're talking about kids playing sports together with masks on. Like, come on, it really is. We have to practice outside. We can't practice indoors.
Mhm.
We have to practice outside. So we have outside with masks on. It doesn't. I mean, and we were just started. Now we're just like playing 2-on-2 again. So it's crazy. Like I just we are doing all that, but yet I don't know. The thing is like you can't monitor what people are like doing the tournaments and stuff because they're still doing them. It's just outside of high school. It's outside of like the school districts. So people are playing every weekend. Every weekend.
Oh,
I'm telling everybody, look, problem isn't the kids. Kids are not the ones that are getting it. And they just, I saw an article, the people that are getting it from ages 20 to 49. Like that's or 39. It's like the spreaders or that group. I think it's 49.
Yeah,
So
well, we have like
we're the problem.
our basketball leagues and stuff out here are playing. Like Hoopsville, like all these leagues, they still play.
Yeah, the leagues are.
And I'm pretty sure they're not testing all these people. You know what I mean? They're playing these leagues. These are
I see gyms filled with fans too, which is crazy. Like if you're gonna do it, you know what I'm saying? If you're gonna do it, let the kids play,
Yeah.
and then no fans and just coaches and refs. Safe.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a little better.
What they did in Florida, because again, I take photos of like games and stuff. So for basketball, there was a tournament. It was for MLK Day, and it was JV varsity boys girls, and in between each game that had a bigger gap. Actually, in between each game, it made no sense. You had to walk out of the gym, all the fans walk out, but then literally you could walk back in. Like it made no sense. They were like, oh, we're letting them warm up. But I'm like, what does that do? And I think what they're doing is they don't want people sitting around and doing this. But I'm like, but you're sitting and watching the game. So like there's no place to wander but the little foyer where you can get concessions, and not many people are doing that. Or just sit where you are. So I'm like, there's nothing different than sitting at the game than this. Like, why do I have to go out, walk around, and come back in? It's not for tickets. It's not that. Like they literally would say it's for COVID. And I'm like you said, the inconsistency makes
Dumbest rules. We have the dumbest rules put in place. They don't make any sense. There's no consistency. And every state is different, right? So like that's what makes no sense too. So
it's like they want to try to make it seem like they're doing something good, but I'm like, in hindsight, you're not.
No, that's true. Like even when you say with the NBA, like it just like to me it doesn't make sense because I assume all of them are tested.
yeah, they're tested every time.
Why does the coach have to wear a mask? That doesn't make sense. Why
agree.
is the coach coaching with a mask if they're all tested? And first of all, I know for a fact because I've coached with a mask on. It's hard to talk with a mask on. So I always see all the coaches always pulling it out to talk, and I'm like, bro, that is so like
It's counterproductive.
Yeah,
The whole
it's so,
point is to
like,
not talk.
yeah. And then even when they're like talking to the refs, so that's like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me, like what the gauge is with the mask and with the mask on. Like, so I just played in the game. Now when I sit down, I have to wear a mask, but I was just in the game without a mask. So I don't have to wear it. Just, I don't know what their reasoning, but I guess they have some kind of reasoning.
It's
but
optics. It's just optics.
everybody's gonna follow what they do, and then just it's gonna trickle down. But
I'm gonna come on with a mask next show.
I still forget to bring a mask sometimes. I'd be like, I don't even be remembering sometimes.
I always there's a mask in like every one of my jackets, every one of my even when I forget to wear a mask or bring a mask, like there's always a mask somewhere in my.
Do you guys still think it's kind of weird, like when you go places and then everybody there just has a mask? I'm like, damn, this is.
I don't
It's
even-
weird when somebody doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
it's
kinda
weird when
freaks me out.
someone doesn't.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
Like,
not-
wait, hey, sir, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I was just
Yeah.
watching TV and thinking like, yo, where they mask at? But it's like a movie. So,
yeah, oh yeah, for real. We were doing that. I was doing that. I was watching a movie and I was like, yo, they really don't have masks on. I'm like, oh shit, this
the
is
movie was made in 06.
What were those times like? Like,
it's
I
weird.
I don't know if
Weird.
it's ever gonna go back to that, like without like this without like
Not this
wearing-
year.
The way they make it seem though is like you can never talk to anybody again because you're gonna have this fear of
Yeah,
getting-
that's what I'm
You know
saying.
what I'm
Like you would
it's
never
all
be able to.
fear. They want to put.
and now
fear.
you're just gonna fear like I'm gonna fear the common cold. I'm gonna fear the flu. I'm gonna fear everything because it could be the next thing. Now I'm gonna get sick. Like I just everybody is
Yeah.
stuck on this thing. Like
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I mean, I've been super strict about staying inside, doing all this stuff. We do the practices. I keep a mask on all the time. I do like we don't go anywhere. My kids are virtual. Like it's just the way it is. But there's gonna come a breaking point like where you gotta be like, okay, how are we gonna be safe? What is it? And even then, think the numbers go down, right? Everything goes down. It doesn't matter how far it goes down because if there's still one case, it can just start all over again.
Right.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You know, so I just
That's
don't
a-
get it. I just don't get it.
That's
I think
something gonna
yeah.
have to be like it's gonna have to be accepted that this is. I don't know.
herd immunity and vaccines. That's what it's going to herd immunity and vaccines.
Yeah.
So the vaccine will just
it's
prevent
gonna
us from
get-
like dying. We'll get sick, but we just won't die.
It's gonna get to a point where they're gonna be like, you can't do certain things, like go to games and stuff if you're not vaccinated or something. They're gonna start.
Yeah.
It is
I'm
wild.
telling you, once they start getting like, everything starts getting back to like some kind of normalcy, all the big things like concerts and all this stuff, that's how they're gonna get you because it's gonna be like stuff that you wanted to do or used to do, and you're not gonna be able to do it unless you're vaccinated. They're not gonna-
What's the biggest thing you missed then?
Concerts.
Concerts, you said?
Yes, I go to concerts all the time. I had tickets to a concert and it got canceled. I'm still bitter. It happened almost a year ago. Still bitter. Like I love that because I mean,
What was the
here
concert?
again,
What was it?
it was Jack Harlow, but I mean, here I don't like. I get to go to games. You know what I mean? I get to do normal things that people weird normal, but like that a lot of other like even like New York. Like I talk to people from New York. They're like, yeah, we're about to enter stage 4, and I'm here in Florida on the beach. You know what I mean? Like there's no like here in Memorial Day last year, I was just driving. Like me and my friend just wanted to drive because we quarantined together, and I'm cars just parked, jet skiing, this like people here don't care. So it's like concerts are the only thing that have been taken away from me. So
my cousin works at the Brooklyn Nets, like at the restaurant as a chef. So he used to get me tickets. So I missed that. I would I'd have been at like 30 games this year already. I would have tried to get to every home game this year. So I definitely am mad about that. This is the year to watch. I would love watching this team right now. But
Events in general, like I'd like to go to a basketball game or tailgate
oh yeah.
or the bar.
Or outside.
Anything normal for
Bars aren't open yet by you guys. It's restaurants though, right? You
No,
can do
our governor just put out something about 35% something.
Yeah, they're like
they're open till 2 a.m. now, but you still have to sit in this.
yeah, you gotta sit. You can't like stand in the bar.
I don't know. I can't tell you. I said this to Brandon. I couldn't tell you how our governor looked. I didn't even know what he looked like. I didn't know.
He looked like
He
Michael
sent me a picture of the governor, and I was like, "You're just being funny about this."
He looks like Michael Keaton. He looks like the bad guy in like every movie.
I was like, this is the person that runs New Jersey. This is who we have as a guy. I was like, that is
Man.
not it. All right, so let's leave it off with this. So how do you, each one of you, what do you think about the state of basketball right now, and if anything you would change about it, like right now? You could do women's, men's, college, NBA, just basketball in general, anything. Like, how do you feel about the state of basketball, like where it's headed, where it's at? And if you could change one thing about the game, whether it's going back to something or something, changing something different. So it could even be something that's adding a 4-point line. It could be something as going back to hand checking or whatever. You know what I mean? What would you go?
100% changing the way the game is officiated.
Games are officiated?
Yeah.
Like what? So what do you mean?
Just in NBA.
So you mean bad? It's bad officiating.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's some of the worst. Did you see? Did you see Kawhi Leonard's travel and then he did a jump stop, then he took like 2 more. Like sometimes I think like what the refs. No, bro. So have you guys ever watched the refs like during games? It's not watch the play. Just watch the refs run up and down. Has anybody ever done that?
No.
I tried that one time.
Just watch the rest of the
They're not looking at nothing. I'm like, what are they looking at? They're literally just looking at like the ball. They're not looking at your feet of what you're moving. They're just looking at the ball and making sure you shoot a 3. They got to make sure they count a 3 point, shoot a 3, and they're just looking at the ball move. I'm like, bro, they don't. These refs. I don't mean to be, but they're not the best. This is not the best era for refs right now. Since what's the name? What was the guy that Tim Duncan hated? What's the guy that?
Joey Crawford.
Yeah, since he left, that guy left.
He's
And the one that
terrible,
did the
too.
scandal. The scandal messed up everything. Since then, it's been down.
Donahue. Yeah, Donahue.
Since then, it's been all downfall for the refs. Cause now they feel like everything is like they're rigged and everything. But that's a good one, Brandon. I definitely agree with you 100% with that one. The refs
So would you do, Brandon? Would you do like a more challenges or like more reviews, like video reviews? Like what would you do?
This takes too long. But I just like when people like pump it and they jump to the side.
yeah, that is so true.
Trey Young is good for slowing down and then jumping backwards to people, like all that stuff. Like
That is such bad. Yo, no,
Brandon would do that though. That's your move.
No.
backwards.
They're so inconsistent
Yeah.
with the shot fake and the jump. Like, how the hell is that a foul? So if I jumped already and then you jump into me, why is that a foul on me and you're jumping into me? So no matter what, you can just create contact like that. I don't know. It seems it's just, and then even the swing, everything is just. How do you play defense? How do I play defense?
That's what I said it earlier, right? I said it earlier. The like an offensive player is weaponized with everything. It's 100% their advantage over the defense. That's why there's no defensive people. Nobody plays defense because there's no point.
It is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. That's a good one though. Go ahead, Park. What would you do? That's a good one.
Damn, I don't even know. Go skip me. I don't know.
Just keep it?
I said it earlier, the one and done rule needs to teach me this. But the other one's probably like a little far-fetched. Like I wish like positions basketball would go away. Did I say that right? Yeah. Like centers don't need to be working on guard skills. I just think it's ridiculous. Positions should come back, in my opinion.
Oh, you want it point guard, shooting guard, small forward.
Just I get like the guards are positionless and sometimes forwards are like I don't know how to explain it.
Ooh, I know.
I did have one more it's randomly popped in my head. I feel that if 3-point line shouldn't exist if you're under the age of 12. Because all these kids want to do is chuck threes.
I scream all game.
All they want to do is shoot threes. I blame Steph Curry.
Steph, he's impacted the game a lot with that. It's a 3-point game. Basketball is all about threes now.
But I you know what I heard somebody say the other day. Look, if you put a line there and it's this side is 2 and this side is 3, I'm gonna get really, really, really good at this one because it's worth more. So do you blame them?
I blame little kids, for influencing little kids who they can't even shoot a fucking layup.
That's bad coaching.
Yeah,
That's bad coaching.
I know that not one of us grew up playing basketball, starting at shooting threes.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think there's like a limit. I understand what you're saying, Park, but bro, teams would shoot like, but back then, Tony, they would shoot like 53s. Like,
Oh,
bro,
I know. I get it.
threes. So everything
I'm
is
just saying.
I'm like,
It's like that. It's like that Billy Bean thing, right? With like you play the odds, you play the statistics, right? And so if you shoot more threes, and you shoot at a certain clip, you have a higher likelihood of winning. You know, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, there's got to be some sort of reasoning behind it and some statistics that support it. But I mean, the math is there. You guys know I do math, right?
do math.
I remember mine now. So, you got to eliminate conferences. I think we eliminate NBA conferences because I don't like that you got such weak. Like, you can leave it the way it is, East and West, but the way the schedules are, where it's like you only play 4 in your conference and you play 2 in the other conference, and you really don't like it doesn't equal out. So then you end up having like these skewed records, and they're not that good. You need to just play in the best teams. So try to even out the schedule. I know it has to do with travel and who's playing where, but try to even out. So do less games, even it out. Somebody come up with a schedule where it's even. Everybody plays each other twice or 3 times or whatever, and that way you have a real gauge of who's the best in the league, right? And then you can actually have a playoff. And then you can do a play-in. I don't care, but I just think it would be better if you actually had the best teams competing, not just like it's kind of like the Sweet 16. You can't just have like this bullshit like East and West that doesn't really exist. The West is so much stronger than the East, and so then you get these crappy teams. Like, who the hell wants to watch like the Orlando Magic versus whatever the Toronto? Again, nobody cares. The teams suck. I'm tired of that.
Yeah,
But so what do you think about them doing the back-to-back? Because that's what they said they might continue with that. What teams are playing the same team like twice in a row just to stay. I like that. I like that.
If the scheduling maps out the right way, where you can come up with this, that like everybody plays each other an equal amount of times, so then it's a true gauge. Right now, it's not a true measurement of who is really good in the league. You're a true measurement on the West versus just the West, but like as a whole, as an organization, as the whole NBA, you're not.
I don't want to play the Knicks twice. They're trash.
The schedule in the NBA is definitely. I definitely agree with that. The schedule in the NBA is trash. Like
it is trash. It's low key trash. You play the same teams pretty much.
The year the Warriors broke the record, 173 games. They played like the Lakers like 12 times. And they played the Spurs one time each. The entire season. Like you wanted them to win the 73 games.
Yeah.
Like that no sense to me. I'm so mad about that. They played the San Antonio and OKC, the only 2 teams that could have ever beat them all year consistently, one time each.
Ball don't lie. That's why they didn't win a chip.
Yeah, really. How do you play the Lakers 12 times, yo? The worst team in like.
That's hilarious.
Everyone's trash. So yeah.
Jay, what say you?
Mine is going off of what you don't like basketball is heading. Mine's from the like more middle school, high school level. Is I think in America we put more emphasis on playing than practicing when it comes to AAU. I think we play way too much instead of practicing, and I think it shows. And I think it was I've literally used this quote 3 times this week, but I think it was Gino that said it. And he was like, when you go to these exposure camps, you're exposing yourself. And I agree completely, because you either like, what happens if you're showing this, you're playing whatever, and you're showing a skill, a bad habit, whatever. And then what if he goes and he sees you a month from now and you're doing the same thing? You're exposing your bad habits. A coach is going to more look at your bad habits, especially the higher up you go, because you're competing with 15 other girls or boys, at the same thing. So if you have a bad habit he doesn't like or she doesn't like, you know what I mean? They're going to pick the person, like they're not going to pick you. So I think we put like, I mean, I know one year when I played AAU, we practiced, I think, a total of 3 times the whole season, and maybe 5 girls showed up, but we're playing and we're playing and we're playing and we're playing. And it's like, I remember I actually played 11 games in a total of like 3 days.
They play a lot.
Why? Like, there's no need for that. And I just think we're losing our fundamental skills. Yeah, it's money. It's a money
money
thing.
grab. It's absolutely a money grab.
Yeah, and I didn't play that type of AAU in high school. Like, I practiced more than I played. And I just, overall, it benefited me. You know what I mean? Because I'm 5'3". I need more skill than I need athleticism at this point. You know what I mean? Like, so I just think it needs to be completely changed. And it's just, there's too much hype around it. You know what I mean? You have to be on the base play, the best team, the best this, and spend $5,000 on a team and play the best tournaments, the best players that already, it doesn't matter how much they play, they already have a Division I scholarship. You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you're saying. So two things that I've learned from them playing too much. One of the main reasons these kids are playing so many games is because they're on multiple teams. So they're playing 4 games for one team and then 4 games for another team on the same weekend. So they're just playing, and then say they make it to the playoffs with one team, and you're adding games on games, so it all adds up. 2, these kids are getting injuries they should not be getting till they're 25.
At that age,
It makes no sense for all these kids to be getting torn ACLs. Like this, these are not injuries these are wear and tear injuries that they're getting at such a young age, but people don't care about stuff like that. Like I always hear like, oh, I've got mad games this week. I'll be like, bro, yeah. I mean, I understand the love for basketball because when we were young, we used to play a lot too. But even that was kind of control playing. Like we would not because you know what I mean. After a while, you'd be like, damn, I'm tired of playing. Like it's a lot. But these kids are playing 8 games over the weekend, training 5 days a week. I'm like, bro, when do y'all give yourself time to rest? Anything rest to them. If you tell them or their parents rest, they look at you like you're crazy. Like you said something like in Spanish or something like rest. What is rest? I'll be like, bro, it's so crazy how they don't think. They think that the more they're on the court, which it does make sense, but you can't compare yourself to adults like grow NBA that their bodies are mature and able to take the brunt of what they're doing. Y'all bodies are not able to do that, and it shows when I see these girls come in and some of them come in, they be like, "Oh, I'm so sore, my ankle." I'm like, "You have injuries that I have. Like, what the hell do you have the same injuries that I mean?" I remember when I was young, I could play all the time. Like y'all should be.
It never hurt. Never hurt. We would fall, land on our ankles.
I would never forget this. When we were young, tell me if I'm wrong. I would twist my ankle. I would just tie up my shoe, and it might get swollen after the game, but during the game, I would feel no pain. Like I'd be ready to go. But now, kids nowadays, they twist their ankle. You would think they got shot in their foot or something. They're out for 10 months. I'm like,
they baby it, and then you baby a swollen or twisted ankle, it just gets worse. Like you walk on it.
Or it's the 15th time they've done it, and now it's all messed up.
They have bad ankles now. They have to wear ankle braces. I'm like, so you're a kid and you have to wear ankle braces because you have bad ankle. Like, what?
It's actually the opposite of what you should do.
We should have talked about AAU more. AAU's
we got to do that. Yeah, we have to come.
AAU is the reason for everything. It's the reason for the NBA joining up. It's the reason for people getting injured. It's the reason for one and done. AAU is the worst. I forgot. We should talk about that more.
I'll never go against the opportunity I have to coach these kids, but AAU basketball, the things I've seen, because I've not only seen on the girls' side, but I've also dealt with high-level boys players who play on the circuit, and to see the stuff that gets through, I'd be like, bruh, are you kidding me? These are kids, and you're treating them like they're you're forcing them to make decisions like they have families and stuff like this. They know what the hell they're doing. You're right, Austin. We could go this. AAU is crazy. That organization, they took over basketball, man.
Yeah,
good job at taking over.
Yeah, no practice, man. That's a problem.
We're gonna do that. The next time we're gonna have that topic. Jay, if you want to come on with that too, I definitely want to have.
Talk about AAU.
I want to have a thing where we just discuss all things AAU. Let's just.
That's the topic. That's definitely the.
Yeah, I'll hold my comments then.
Okay, so Jay, if you're free are you free next Friday? Or
I think
I mean, is your agent? Go check with your agent and see if you're free.
stop that.
And, if you're free next Friday, we'll hold it off till you come up. But we're definitely let's do a show where it's just all AU, where we just talk all, because that's one that we can just dive in. I know we all have opinions on that. That AU, man, is yeah. Shoe Nike. Oh man, these guys are.
Yeah, AU goes down to that. And like
They don't care nothing about these kids. They don't care. They can give a damn about kids, about what they're doing, who they are. It does not matter. Everything is money. And it's crazy when you see it.
Money grabs every weekend, every organization, every team. It's all about money. There are a few out there I'm sure are good, but at the end of the
Even
day,
from the tickets to get in, like my mom.
parking.
Bruh. So,
Wait, you didn't pay for parking? I never had to pay for parking. But
What? $20 for parking every
I
time.
didn't pay for parking, but they did it tickets. So like my mom would pay it'd be like $15 for one game or like $25 for a weekend pass. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like you're paying more than like high school. I need to shut up. Okay.
Yeah, next thing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. We go another 2 hours on this.
Yeah,
that's the rabbit hole. That's the rabbit hole that we're about to go down.
Yeah.
It's about to get we're about to open up some time.
I got notes. We're
Everything.
bring all your points.
So hopefully we're gonna we'll bring it next Friday. We'll do it, and we'll see where it goes from there. All right. So if y'all have any, I know y'all have a bunch to talk about on it, but whatever topics y'all want to bring up, anything, if you just have a certain question or even just certain statements or something you just want to say, definitely feel free to bring it, or just whatever, just start it off or just write it down or just have it ready, and then we'll just back and forth off each other and just figure out how it goes. Cool. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, this was fun, man. The best topic was Chris Paul. He's the greatest point guard. Till next time.
We talk about Chris Paul again.
So next week we're going to talk about AAU and more Chris Paul. So until he wins a championship, I'm not going to stop talking about this guy. You got to wear a chip. Once he wins the chip, I'm going to become y'all are going to hate me. If he ever wins a championship, y'all are going to shut up about it. I'm going to have a Chris Paul jersey on everywhere.
Yeah, I don't see that happening anytime soon, buddy.
All right. Thank you all for watching. Whoever watched live. Thank you everybody who watched it, who's gonna watch it on the playback. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Coach Park, Austin, Jay. Thank you for coming through. Next week, hopefully Jay can make it. If her busy schedule doesn't happen, we're gonna talk to her agent. We're gonna figure out these things. We're gonna make sure that she doesn't have her meeting with LeBron at that same time. Stuff like that. You just got to make sure her schedule will be ready to go. All right. Thank you all. Guys are the best. All you guys are the best. Shout out to you. I love doing these talks, back and forth banter. Till next time, we are out. Peace.